Yesterday was opening day at Citi Field, so I guess that makes tonight opening night. All the fans getting ready for the first nighttime baseball at Citi Field in 2011. Ski caps, yeah, they might come in handy tonight. At Citi Field in New York, the New York Mets play the Washington Nationals. Mets baseball is presented in high definition by IOTV. Get the best in HD free with IOTV. And a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to Citi Field. Gary Cohen, Keith Hernandez, Ron Darling with you tonight as the Mets play the middle game of their home opener series against the Washington Nationals. Washington won yesterday 6-2, handing the Mets their third straight loss. And after a few games early in the season, especially in Florida, where the Mets were very adept at clutch hitting, the last couple of days, not so much.
Well, Roy Halladay had a lot to do with it. They went 0 for 7 off of, 1 for 7 off Halladay on that getaway day, that day game. But yesterday, an opening day, 0 for 10, so that makes it 1 for 17, and that becomes a little bit alarming. They hit so well, as you said, Gary, in the opening series in Florida, in the first couple games in Philadelphia. You just got to hope that they got to do the little things to get the runner in, get the ground ball, get the fly ball, cut down the swing, much like Pud Rodriguez did last night. He was 0 for the season. He shortened up, got the ball through the infield, drove in big 2 runs.
Put the ball in play, something good might happen. As for the other side of things, Met pitchers walked 9 yesterday, and the last 3 games, the starting pitcher for the Mets has gone 5 innings or less, which puts a little bit of pressure on tonight's starter Chris Capuano, who makes his first start as a Met.
You know, you would think he would have enough pressure on him, his first start for the Mets, first start of the season. Luckily, he got a little relief work down in Florida, but this is a veteran pitcher. He missed 2008 and 2009 with that Tommy John, but in 2005, 18 wins, only 12 losses, an all-star the next season. He's a guy that should be able to deal with this pressure, but there definitely is some pressure for him to try to go 6+ tonight to give that bullpen a break.
So the veteran lefty Capuano pitches for the Mets. R.A. Dickey complete with cracked nails signing autographs for the fans. It's the Mets and Nats, all the action on SNY. TV. Get the best in HD free with IOTV. By Budweiser, great times are waiting. Grab some buzz. By Nathan's Famous, official hot dog of the New York Mets. Visit a Nathan's restaurant today. By Audi. By Citi. And by Lowe's. It's opening day for your lawn. Visit your local Lowe's for savings and a free MLB fan guide. Compliments of Scott's. Follow the Mets with your MLB.com @Bat11 app for your iPhone, iPad, Android, or BlackBerry. Get live audio, pitch-by-pitch tracking, video highlights, and more. Text @Bat to 31826 or visit Mets.com for details. Here's your Mets' upcoming schedule. Remember, all Mets games on SNY are available in HD, presented by IOTV. And you can also listen to all Met games on Sports Radio 66 WFAN. After our night game tonight, a day game tomorrow to wrap up the series with the Nats. Then the Rockies are in for 4 games starting on Monday night. Boy, did they play a wild game last night in Pittsburgh. 14 innings before they lost 4-3, better than 5 hours. Crowd coming in to Citi Field to watch Chris Capuano and Tom Corzolani, a couple of lefties. Come on back and watch. Inside SNY.TV, the ultimate blog network featuring a continuous flow of sports news straight from the best New York sports blogs. SNY.TV, your online home of all things New York sports. Here's the Ford starting lineup for the Washington Nationals. Adam LaRoche out of the lineup tonight. He's got a bit of a tear in his rotator cuff in his throwing arm, and it's bothering him, so he's sitting tonight. Mike Morris moves to first base. And Jerry Hairston Jr., Scott's brother, gets a start in left field, so it's a Hairston mano a mano. Wilson Ramos gets the start behind the plate against the veteran left-hander Chris Capuano, making his first Mets start.
Well, you see his numbers last year with Milwaukee in 18 2/3 innings in spring training with the Mets. He only gave up 5 earned runs. A great spring training. Proved he's healthy, and the Mets are looking for him to rebound to his 2005 form when he won 18 ball games.
And we'll take a look at the Metsy Lexus defense. Who gets his first start? Who's on second? Who, of course. He's playing second. Sorry to take your line there, Gare, but who gets his first start at second? Hairston out in left field. in his first start. Nick gets behind the plate his second start.
Wow, look at that.
Season ticket holders getting to go on the field before the game with players all over the field. And if you get to be next to Jose Reyes, he's going to give you a big hug.
Did you see that? She turned around and said, I have your jersey on. You're my favorite player. That's pretty cool.
All she needed was the dreadlocks.
That's right.
Would have had the whole scene. Chris Capuano, 32 years old. Missed all of 08 and 09 after Tommy John surgery. Didn't make another appearance until June of last year. But I talked to him during spring training, and he said, look, everybody wants to make me out as this reclamation project. He said, I proved last year that I'm healthy. Now it's just a matter of being ready for the full season and being ready to make 30 to 35 starts.
That's right. He made those starts in Milwaukee and really pitched very well down the stretch last year.
Ian Desmond will lead things off for the Nationals, who have won 2 straight after dropping 4 of their first 5. Desmond 0 for 5 yesterday, drove in a run, hitting at .214. Very interesting that Desmond and the Mets leadoff hitter Jose Reyes, between them, they have no walks this year.
That's unbelievable.
Reyes hit the ball a little better than Desmond has. But it really is strange after more than a week of play that neither leadoff hitter has a walk.
I don't know about you guys, but Desmond to me is a very puzzling player. I'll watch him play one game and you say to yourself, boy, this kid is going to be something. And then not the same the next game you watch him play. So the consistency has eluded him so far.
Good changeup by Capuano. That's his stock in trade against the right-hand hitters. And he gets Desmond for the first down. So 1 away for Capuano. There are his career numbers. As Ronnie mentioned, by far his best season came in 2005 when he won 18 games for Milwaukee. He was an all-star the next season before things started going south for him with the elbow trouble. A Phi Beta Kappa graduate of Duke with a degree in economics.
That is a perfect degree to have with the money the ball players make today, right, Gary?
Jason Worth takes a fastball for a strike. Well, it's good to be able to, you know, do your own taxes and financial planning.
Pie charts, the whole thing.
Worth was 1 for 5 yesterday, and he takes inside 1-1.
Well, we talked on opening day about Worth and all the money he got in a 7-year contract. How do you hit him seconds?
Well, especially now with LaRoche out of the lineup, you figured maybe they'd move him down to the cleanup spot. But they've got Morris hitting cleanup.
Well, I always look at it this way. Most important person in this lineup, and no disrespect to Worth, is this man, Zimmerman. Whoever you have hitting behind him is very important to protect number 11.
Swing and a miss, and he strikes him out on the fastball. So a good start for Capuano as he set down the first 2.
Well, because his changeup is his best pitch, I love when he elevates the fastball. Trying to go in here, but really just let it go. Looks like he's trying to cut it in there and got underneath a little bit up in the strike zone. That's a good pitch for him.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now we'll take on the number 3 hitter, Ryan Zimmerman, who had a couple of hits in the game yesterday. Zimmerman off to a fast start, and he takes a strike. By the way, speaking of number 3 hitters, Hanley Ramirez not in the lineup for the Marlins tonight after suffering a leg bruise on a kind of late slide by Bill Hall last night. It looked when he first went down as though that leg might be broken, and they still are not 100% sure it's not, but that obviously is an enormous blow to the Marlins.
Well, we saw that happen 2 or 3 days ago to Nishioka of the Minnesota Twins. Their second baseman out, broken left fibula.
And a strike on the outside edge, so Capuano spotting that fastball nicely, and it's 0-2.
Well, he had the one good start. Remember, Gary, we did that game together where he was in and out and up and down and up the ladder with his fastball. And looking sharp so far in the first inning.
Now the 0-2, and he goes away with the fastball, gets it up to 90. That's about where he's going to top out these days.
The key against the right-handed hitters, Morse on deck, is that he's got to make sure they are wary of inside with that cutter so he can throw that changeup away and get some outs. And
he comes inside, just missed with it, 2-2. So now he set him up for that changeup away.
Yes, he did. Although he doubled up against Worth inside to get the strikeout in the last at bat.
Pulled down to third. David Wright behind the bag. And he throws out his buddy Zimmerman, side retired. So Capuano with an impressive opening inning. And the Mets come to bat with no score. On the mound for the Nats tonight.
Those are his numbers, his Toyota numbers from last year. 36 and 37 in his career in 95 starts. He was the primary offseason addition to this starting rotation.
And Jose Reyes takes low for ball one. Reyes has led off each of the last 5 games with a base hit. However, he has scored only 1 of those 5 times. And that speaks to the larger issue that the Mets have been dealing with over the last few days, which is getting runners in, especially runners at third less than 2 out.
Well, another thing too about Jose, he's never been one to steal bases early in the count, and he puts a lot of pressure on Pagan, hitting in the 2-hole, whoever it is, who take a lot of pitches for him, and he just is not comfortable stealing early in the count.
Two-1 from Gorzolani, and Reyes fouls it off.
I think you're making such a great point, Keith, because what happens for you fans at home, Jose might get the second, but Pagan only has 1 pitch left to try to get him over. That's hard to do against big league pitching.
And Pagan has been struggling at the plate. David Wright behind him. Reyes still in there at 2-2. Of course, Reyes had one of the biggest at bats with runners in scoring position himself in yesterday's game. Second and third, 1 out. Mets down by a run and could not put the ball in play against Tyler Clippard. He lays off and it's 3-2. And in fact, Reyes has had more times at bat with runners in scoring position than anybody else on the club over the first 7 games of the season. Not supposed to work out that way. Here's a 3-2, and he fouls it off. So a long turn at bat here for Reyes against Gorzolani, who's making his Washington debut.
Gorzolani pitched for the Cubs last year, was 7-9 in 23 starts.
Picked up in a trade for 3 minor leaguers in January. 8th pitch of the at bat, and Reyes has his first walk of the season. So he's on base to lead off the first inning for the 6th straight game. Here's your Geico Mets starting lineup. First start for Chin Lung Hu. Second start for Mike Nickia. Second start for Scott Hairston, as the Mets get as much right-hand hitting as possible into the lineup. Now Angel Pagano went 0 for 4 yesterday, and his batting average at 192. And we'll see whether Reyes can put into action what Keith is suggesting and get a base early in the count.
A little tougher here off a left-hander with Gorzelani out there.
Well, he's been a little less successful stealing against lefties over the course of his career.
He's still pretty good, though. Worth taking the chance more often, my opinion.
Time to over 75%. That's outstanding. And now Gorzelani falls behind Pagan, 2-0.
Home plate umpire Dan Bellino so far. It looks like he's going to have a very tight strike zone, which doesn't work well for both these left-handers. They like to work the corners.
Bellino, a young umpire in his first full big league season.
You know, Mookie over there at first base, hopefully he can serve as the same kind of tutor with these guys that are trying to steal, as Davey Lopes did in Philadelphia.
And is now trying to do it in Los Angeles. Now Pagan ahead of the count, 2-0. And he pops one foul out of play, 2-1. Think about Reyes when he takes his lead at first base. You can almost tell when he's not in running mode.
You're right.
He stands up rather than putting his arms down his leg,
which is not a good thing. You should always be in the same position. That way the pitcher doesn't know. I'll tell you, I learned when I was pitching when a guy would go, you could feel it. Just by taking a look. If the guy gets a little lower, fingers start moving.
So that's not his running stance.
To me, against a left-hander, he tries to almost fake them out like I'm not going, and then goes on first movement.
God fouls off another one. That'll make it to the seats. And it's 2-2.
And the Coors Light national defense. As you can see, Mike Morris with the injury to Adam LaRoche gets his first start at first base. He's normally their left fielder. He's off to a terrible start. Had a great spring training, 9 home runs. Boy, it hasn't factored into his April. He's hitting 100 as we come into this game.
Now it's 2-2 to Pagan. And time asked for by Angel.
Interesting. Angel asked for time as Reyes was trying to expand his lead.
David Wright waiting on deck. Behind him, Carlos Beltran, as the Mets try and get off to a fast start against Gorzelani. And Pagan fouls one off Ramos and back. Still 2-2. Well, he's been a much better hitter in the 2-hole than he has been further down the lineup.
It's early in the season, and it's kind of hard to make a judgment, but he's more suited for the 2-hole.
And he pops one up. This one should stay in play. Ramos sheds the mask, and that's the first down. So Pagan fouls out. Reyes still at first with 1 out, with David Wright coming up. David 1 for 4 last night. Hitting at .333 over the first week plus of the season. And David traditionally feasts on left-handed pitching. 3 for 10 against Gorzelani in his career. And it raises the same question we asked yesterday. You get a situation where Pagan makes an out and Reyes is still at first. Should Reyes be thinking about running with Wright at the plate?
I think Reyes should always be thinking of
Yes,
running. You know,
agreed.
in this ballpark, no one's in scoring position when they're at the plate. You have to be aggressive. This team's going to have to be aggressive all year. Terry Collins has preached that. You know, the problem is that your leadoff hitter, it takes him a while to get going when he gets on the bases. You know, left-hander notwithstanding.
Who better to counsel the leading base stealer in Mets history than the second leading base stealer in Mets history?
That's right. The former.
Was. Now Gorzolani ready to work. And Wright takes it on the outside corner. A strike, 0-1. Such a similarity in styles between these two pitchers.
Yeah. They're almost the same pitcher.
Carlos Beltran on deck. Gorzolani about 4 years younger. He's 28 years old. Started out with the Pirates, second round pick back in 03. And like Capuano, he had the one really good year with Pittsburgh in 07. He won 14 games that year. And then everything went backwards for him the following season. And 2 years ago wound up getting traded from the Pirates to the Cubs. He's flitted around from the bullpen to the starting rotation. But the Nationals valued him enough to give away 3 players to get him this winter. Reyes runs, the pitch outside. Ramos with the throw, and Reyes gets under the tag. His third stolen base of the year.
We're running after the attempted pickoff. Ramos gets rid of it quickly, but Reyes just too good a jump.
Boy, very interesting. Espinosa on the outfield side of the bag to take that throw.
So he's in scoring position for the 5th straight game. Can the Mets get him in this time? 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position yesterday. And Wright confused by that high off-speed pitch, and it's 1-2. Only a high changeup is a mistake.
That's the changeup that you usually take, but it was so appealing that he decided the last minute to swing at it.
So now Gorzolani ahead of the count, 1-2. Espinosa keeping an eye on Reyes, leaving a big hole in the right side. And David goes down on the changeup. So there's the first strikeout for Gorzolani and the 9th strikeout for Wright in 31 at bats this year.
This is a better change right here. Pretty good. It's a good sinking change. Outside corner, knee high. Good pitch. Had play too.
You know, the Mets in the first 2 innings over the first 7 games have scored a total of 3 runs. And that was all in 1 game in Florida. They have really had trouble getting runs in early in games. Here's Beltran with a crack with 2 out, and Reyes at second. Carlos sitting at 190, swung the bat very well last night, but now batting right-handed, where he's been a little more troubled early in the season.
0 for 5 thus far this season, and had difficulty in spring from the right side.
Scott Hairston hitting 5th in the order today against the left-hander, waiting on deck. But Beltran hit a couple of rockets in the game yesterday. And Carlos pulls one foul. 1-1.
So the thing about facing Gorzolani, he comes from the school of he's going to pitch around the strike zone. He does not want to challenge anyone. And the result is that if you give it to him and go on the strike zone, you're going to be in trouble because he's going to throw a ton of pitches every inning. That's just who he is.
Last year, over 17 pitches per inning, 5th most in the National League. One and 1 to Beltran. Now, the other thing about Gorzolani is that last year he really struggled in the first innings of games. If he's able to clear the first inning, he's in a lot better shape. Last year, a .411 on base percentage against him in the first inning. It was the 2nd highest in the National League. But now he's ahead on Beltran, 1-2. And now it's 2-2. Jim Riggleman in his 3rd year as Nationals manager.
Interesting, almost like he's telling his catcher, don't throw a strike, throw something out of the strike zone, make him chase it.
2-2, and the changeup fouled off his foot.
Well, when Gorzelani came up with the Pirates, he threw a little harder than this. He was always sneaky, had kind of a funky motion, but now he's lost considerable velocity.
Well, you know what's interesting about that, Keith? That he struck out no one when he had better velocity. And the last couple of seasons, his strikeouts have gone tremendously up.
Last year, 119 strikeouts in 136 innings. Pirates had the two young lefties come up at the same time, Gorzelani and Mahalam. Just missed inside. And a full count to Beltran.
And then on tail of that, Duke came up, and he thought you were going to have a good rotation. Where's this pitch?
Close. Very close to take there.
And none of them has really panned out the way it was expected. Duke's now in Arizona. Mahalam's still in Pittsburgh. Here's the 3-2. And Beltran hits one to deep left field. Back goes Jerry Hairston looking up, and it's out of here. Carlos Beltran with his first home run of the season, a two-run shot. The Mets have their first Citi Field home run of the year, and it's 2-0 New York. I don't know how he reached this pitch in order to pull it.
Well, Carlos always is one on the right side. Let's go with one hand. So watch him. The ball's up. It's got the outside corner. You can see how he lets go with that one hand. Doesn't do it from the left side of the plate. But he's a high ball hitter from that right side. He's basically a high ball hitter from both sides of the plate.
Well, that solves a lot of ills for the Mets. A hit with a runner in scoring position. A hit from the right side for Beltran. A home run at Citi Field. And an early lead for the Mets. As Scott Hairston takes a strike.
So, Keith, are you saying since he takes his hand off the bat, it almost gives him more bat?
Gives him a little more reach.
Okay, a little more reach.
A little more coverage of the outside corner.
One and one to Hairston.
Remember the 2-2 pitch. Gorzelani thought he had struck out Beltran. An inside fastball goes into Bellino and says, "Where is that pitch?" Bellino says, "That pitch is inside." And shake his head. No, it's not. It's not inside.
Hairston pops one up, shallow left. His brother Jerry is under it. One Hairston retires the other, and that retires the side. But Carlos Beltran gets the Mets off to a big start. Two-run homer. The second half of the season. Now he has his first of 2011.
As you can see, it's an outside pitch here, and the barrel of the bat's in front of the plate. Now watch him let go with that hand. And he loves that ball upstairs. Letter high right-handed.
The Mercedes Ultra Mo brought to you by your Tri-State dealers on the web at searchmercedes.com. Mike Morris takes a call strike from Chris Capuano, whose mistake to a 2-0 lead. Morris 0 for 2 yesterday, but had a bases loaded walk to drive in a run.
2 for 20 start for Mr. Morris.
Playing first base today, Adam LaRoche. The story is that he came to camp this year with pain in his left shoulder. First time he's ever had a problem with that before. And he had a cortisone shot right at the end of spring training. And in the last couple of days, he's made 2 throws that he said were extremely painful. And so he's going to get some regular rest, try and play with it. He said it doesn't hurt him at all to swing the bat. But that's a huge piece of the Nationals lineup with Adam Dunn gone to Chicago. Swing and a miss, and Capuano gets Morris for his second strikeout.
Well, that's 288 mile-an-hour fastballs upstairs, and he's tardy.
So 1 out and nobody on. And now the young catcher Wilson Ramos. Pudge Rodriguez started yesterday, but Jim Riggleman emphasized again yesterday that as the season goes along, Pudge is going to play less and less, and Ramos is going to play more and more. It's kind of a passing of the torch.
Well, you know, the thing about Pudge is he can still play, whether he can hit enough. You know, he's such a great offensive catcher for all those years. Big hit, though, last night. But, boy, would he be appealing down the stretch maybe to a team that's contending.
Good changeup by Capuano, and it's 0-2. Well, Ramos is a big-time prospect. They love his power potential. They love his arm. They picked him up from Minnesota last summer in a deal for Matt Capps. Of course, he wasn't going to ever catch for the Twins, at least until Joe Mauer changes positions, which might happen one of these days. Pulled toward the hole, and Ramos has the Nats' first hit. So after Capuano had set down the first 4, Ramos is a base runner with 1 out, and Rick Ankiel coming up.
You know, it's interesting. Cap was mad at himself for this pitch because it caught too much of the plate. He was up in the count. That's where you want to bounce that changeup.
So 1 out and 1 on, and now Rick Ankiel. First left-handed batter for Capuano to face.
Maybe the best move in the business right now with the retirement of Andy Pettitte.
Well, in his big year in 05, Capuano had 12 pickoffs to lead the majors that year. Finds the inside corner to Ankiel, 0-1. The 4th in the majors since 04, and that's with missing 2 years along the way. There's great economy, you know, in pickoffs. And there's a strike to Ankiel, 0-2.
Made a living off it. You try having as many base runners as I did in 1985. You need to pick off someone occasionally.
So is there correlation between being educated at a fine institution and being a good pickoff artist?
No, there's a correlation between having tons of base runners. That's what there is.
Capuano ahead on Ankiel, 0-2. Ankiel 3 for 4 in the game yesterday.
Ankiel always manages to hurt the Mets. Even last year with he split the season with Kansas City, and the Braves did not have a good year. Always a thorn in the side of the Mets, and was a big part of that win yesterday.
Now has a .352 lifetime batting average against New York. Ripped right center, base hit for Ankiel. Closing on it is Beltran around second. Ramos, he's going to try for third, and Beltran's throw arrives too late. Aggressive base running by Ramos going first to third, and the Nats have runners at the corners with 1 out.
How about that? He runs pretty well for a catcher here. That was fastball away. Oh, had too much to plate. Nicely hit. Ramos had to freeze on that line drive. Now watch him turn it on now. He runs good for a catcher. It's not pretty, but it got it done.
Well, 2 hits for the Nationals behind in the count. 0-2 to Ramos, 1-2 to Ankiel, and Capuano gives up back-to-back hits. And now Danny Espinosa, the second baseman, with the tying runs on base. Espinosa, switch hitter. Yesterday walked 3 times, 3 of the 9 walks issued by Met pitchers in yesterday's game. Misses low inside, ball 1.
Espinosa 2 for 4 off lefties so far this year. Both hits doubles.
Jerry Hairston Jr., the number 8 hitter, waiting on deck.
Boy, they look like brothers, don't they? Lookalikes.
Jerry, the older of the 2. Nickius moves inside. And Espinosa fouls back a pitch that was left over the plate.
Oh, a big rip right there. That's a fastball up and over the middle. He had a nice cut on this ball.
It's that change up to Ramos. Cap has been a little up in the strike zone.
Chris Capuano, who grew up in Western Massachusetts, with a poster of Roger Clemens on his wall.
Oh, so there's Red Sox fans in Western Mass? I won't hold that against him.
Driven to deep left center field. Pagan going back toward the wall, and it's out of here. Danny Espinosa with a 3-run homer to give the Nationals the lead, 3-2. First home run of the year for Espinosa, who hit 2 in 1 game against the Mets the first time he faced them last year. That was a shot.
Well, for Capuano, it's always about handling the right-handed hitters. That's ball middle. He's given up 111 home runs in his career, 99 against right-handed hitters who have hurt him.
See that catch? That's a very nice barehanded catch. So Espinosa clouts a home run after Beltran hit a 2-run shot in the bottom of the first. Espinosa a 3-run homer, and it's 3-2 Washington. Now Jerry Hairston Jr., and he takes a fastball for a strike.
Ronnie, was that a fastball or a changeup?
Fastball away.
More like had right
wanted
down,
it away. Yeah.
Right down Broadway.
Hairston getting the start in left field against the left-hander, looking for his first hit of the season. And he pops one up. Chin Lung Hu taking charge. And that's the second out of the inning. Fans have caught on quickly.
They really have. When they did the Who chant yesterday after he got the bunt down, I said, boy, that's pretty good.
Early on, in terms of chanting ability, the 2 most popular guys on the team are Who and Duda.
That's right.
People love that.
Well, they were chanting Who in spring training.
I mean, it's a lot easier to say Who than it is to say Keith. Right?
Wow.
I've been out with Keith, maybe not.
So Gorzolani taken off the hook after that home run, and a ground ball right to Who. And he takes care of that to end the inning. But the 3-run homer by Danny Espinosa puts the Mets in a hole. 3-2 Washington, with Ike Davis set to lead off. It's brought to you by Rums of Puerto Rico. Just think, Puerto Rico rum, aged by law for true excellence. To learn why Puerto Rico does it better, visit rumcapital.com. Jonas Schwartz and Joe Beningo bring you the latest in New York sports with insider info and exclusive interviews on Daily News Live, presented by Citi, part of the New York Sports Local, weekdays at 5 on SNY. Mets down by a run as they come to bat in the bottom of the second. Ike Davis leads off against Tom Gorzelani. Davis, the only left-handed position player in the Mets lineup tonight. 0 for 3, drove in a run with a sacrifice fly yesterday. And Gorzelani falls behind him 2-0. Chin Lung Hu on deck, and then Mike Nickius, a little different lower part of the batting order for the Mets tonight.
Well, we're seeing early in the season. We got something beach ball out in the field there in left center, right by the Verizon sign.
I mean, it was nice today, but I'm not sure it was beach ball weather.
We're getting back to Terry Collins, who's using his bench early. I'm a bit surprised that Nickius is getting some playing time and totally not playing against left-handers.
Well, Terry said today that when Ronnie Paulino is ready to go, and hopefully that'll be sooner rather than later, he's eligible to come off the suspended list tomorrow. But whether he will or not is very much up in the air, because he's got the problem with anemia that might cause him to go on the disabled list. In any event, Terry said when Paulino's ready to go, Paulino will play against lefties, period, except when R.A. Dickey's on the mound, because he wants Tolley to catch Dickey. It's strike 3 and 1. So it looks like it's going to be something close to a strict platoon with the catchers, at least for the first part of the year. Three and 1 to Ike. And he observes one on the outside corner, 3 and 2.
Well, with Paulino, you're going to have a little bit of what you had early in the season last year with Barajas, a presence and a man who has a lot of power.
And he tears up lefties.
Yeah.
I mean, that's his baseball card. And Ike goes down swinging on the breaking ball. So Gorzelani has his second strikeout. 1 out in the second.
Breaking ball out of the strike zone.
So 1 out and nobody on. Chin Lung Hu comes to the plate. Let's check in with Kevin Burkhardt. Kevin?
Well, guys, Hu was signed by the Dodgers at age 19 out of Taiwan, and I asked him, what did you see the differences playing ball in Taiwan as compared to the States? He said, well, it's changed a little bit now, but especially when I was younger, it was so different. It was a power game here in America. It's becoming more of that in Taiwan, but when I was a kid, we'd get a guy on and we'd bunt him over in the first inning. I mean, it was a lot of bunts, and I guess that showed yesterday when he had that real good sacrifice from Terry Collins pinch hit for him in a game against the Nationals. And it's interesting. His dad's actually a golf pro. He said, my dad wanted me to be a golfer. That was his thing. But, we played catch, and I got into baseball, and they had baseball on a lot, and I got to watch different games from the States. And Nomar Garciaparra became my guy. They had some Red Sox games on, and I really liked the way he played. So, of course, when Hu got to the Dodgers, he got a call up, and Garciaparra was on the Dodgers. Here, though, Hu gets a piece, but he goes down on strike. So too quickly retired by Gorzelani. He got called up to the Dodgers, and he said he did go over indeed to Garciaparra and said, hey, I really admire you from afar across the world. And Garciaparra said, well, that makes me feel really, really old. Guys.
How about Kevin? He can do a report, and he's also ready at any time to climb Mount Kilimanjaro with R.A. Dickey. He's got that nice Parker working.
Here's Mike Dickey is taking ball 1. That is a very nice SNY Parker.
Nice.
They are working on SNY Sherpas. They haven't acquired them yet.
Free agents? Nicky is looking for his first hit of the year, making his second start tonight. And he'll be around until Paulino is ready to go. Chris Capuano hoping for a turn on deck. Handles the bat pretty well, although maybe not so well against the lefties. Nickius, whose dad was also a professional athlete, he was a professional soccer player from England who came over to Canada to play for the Vancouver Whitecaps, and that's where Nickius was born, in Vancouver.
Well, the scuttlebutt is that Mike Nickius has quite a golf game too. So
we'll have to go out and play with him and give us the scouting report. Breaking ball in the dirt, but he held in time. 2-2. I mean, you were the best golfer on your staff, right?
Aguilera was the best.
Really?
Yeah, Rick Aguilera was just an all-around great athlete. Could do anything. But I'm definitely afraid of going out and doing tiddlywinks with any of the players, because you know he's going to get the walking papers if someone gets hurt.
How can you get hurt playing golf?
It can happen. I'm telling you. Fall out of the cart. All kind of stuff.
That's right. You can don't drape your foot over on the cart where you're going 20 miles an hour.
I mean, it's not like Jerry Ford is president anymore.
You can break your ankle in a heartbeat.
Nickius pops it up, and Zimmerman makes the call, and the catch. Side retired. So Gorzelani given the lead, sets the Mets down 1-2-3 on ski cap night at Citi Field. Last year, bringing in Jason Worth for that big contract. Adam LaRoche coming over from Arizona, and Rick Ankiel trying to resurrect his career. Came in on a minor league deal. Adam Dunn now with the White Sox. Josh Willingham gone to Oakland, and Adam Kennedy in Seattle. Where, by the way, I don't know if you saw this story about the Mariners and Josh Wilson. You know, Wilson came into camp. He's a very accomplished defensive shortstop. He and Brendan Ryan, who had been with the Cardinals, also a very good defensive shortstop. And they decided to put Ryan at short and Wilson at second, where he'd never played before. Well, he messed up a couple of double plays on Wednesday night and took himself out of the game. How about that? Ian Desmond leading off in the third inning. So apparently Eric Wedge, who's now the manager in Seattle, got completely bent out of shape. Tried to first protect Wilson publicly, saying, you know, he was feeling ill or something like that. And then Wilson said publicly that Wedge had taken him out of the game, and Wedge just went ballistic. And now there may be an irreconcilable problem there. Anyway, Adam Kennedy is now the second baseman for the moment in Seattle.
Inmates are running the asylum. What's going on here?
Capuano ahead on Desmond, 1-2. In there for a call, strike three. So Desmond down looking, and Capuano has his third strikeout.
Oh, I don't know what he's looking for. Fastball right there. Let's see if that's the inside corner. It's got plenty of plate.
I talked about it before, right? Those are the at-bats that make me shake my head because he was just such a talented player.
So 1 out in the third, and here's Worth, who struck out his first time up. 1 for 6 in this series. What's Jason Worth going to be this year? Is he going to be the star that the Nationals paid for? Or is he going to be the nice complimentary player that he was in Philadelphia?
Complimentary player. The star is Zimmerman.
Nationals don't need a complimentary player.
Well, not at that money, $126 million for 7 years.
I don't care if he's making buck and change. I mean,
he's also going to lead the league in F7s because those balls not going to go out like they do in Citizens Bank Park. Washington is a very, well, not as difficult as Citi Field, but it's a very generous outfield.
Well, also Worth hit his share of opposite field home runs in Philadelphia. Those aren't going out either.
And I guess it sounds like we're knocking Worth. I guess that we are because of the contract. Really good player.
He's a good player. That's
really
exactly
good
right.
player.
But they're paying for a great player, and that's the problem. And they also, I mean, 7 years for a guy who's 31 years old.
That's nice job by the agents.
Ball 4, and Worth is on with a 1-out walk. Well, that's an understatement. I mean, I don't know who else was in competition that the Nats felt they had to go to those lengths to get the player that they want.
Listen, they were making that move. They targeted Worth and said, we're going to go do anything to get him. Cliff Lee, they made an offer on during the winter. So, you know, Mike Rizzo, the general manager, who's responsible for 22 of the 25 people on this roster, not afraid to kind of push the envelope.
One thing is for certain, they have some great young talent in the pipeline. There's Ryan Zimmerman with 1 out and 1 on, and it's low, and Nikias keeps it in front of him. 1-0. I mean, with Strasburg coming back next year and Bryce Harper on the horizon, they've been able to parlay the fact that they've struggled the last few years into 2 potentially once in a generation players. And those are guys you can just build your entire franchise around. Potentially.
Well, let's work backwards then. Maybe you can say to yourself, we can get a Jason Worth and he's not going to be one of our star players because we know Harper's coming. He's going to be our star player. And then all of a sudden Worth goes in that complimentary role again.
Right. And by the time Harper and Strasburg are eligible for free agency, Worth's contract is almost over. It's one way of looking at it.
Guys, you're talking about Worth. At the winter meetings, a baseball person told me that the Phillies were ready to go to a 3-year deal on Worth as compared to what he got, which was 7. A little perspective.
I mean, as far as you know, Kevin, was there anybody else who was willing to go anywhere near what the Nationals ended up paying?
No. No, I mean, I guess, you know, you guys tell me, is it any comparison at all to what the Mets did with Pedro Martinez? I'm not comparing Worth to Pedro Martinez in player, not trying to do that, but I just mean when you're trying to turn the corner, you have to go and, you know, the Mets knew Pedro wasn't going to be the Pedro of old, but to make a splash.
Smash up the middle for Zimmerman for a base hit. Worth going first to third on Beltran, whose throw comes up short, down to second Zimmerman, and he arrives safely. Beltran didn't get much on that throw, and that enabled Zimmerman to take the extra base.
Well, good heads up on the back end, too. Ryan Zimmerman here. It's a changeup. Waits nicely on it. It's down too much plate.
I said Beltran, of course, is Pagan in center field. Didn't quite get his feet under him for that throw.
Well, Worth wasn't even hesitating. And, you know, early in the game here, and Zimmerman on the backside when the ball gets through Reyes. Nice heads up running. Keeps the double play out of business now.
A little shaken up on that slide, and the trainer's coming out to see him.
The last couple throws from Pagan have not been up to speed. You know, his throws have not been strong.
Yeah, he threw that on the run, and I know that Jose's going up the middle, but if he can hustle back there, at least it gives you an option to cut it and go to second.
Oh, he tripped. You see that? He rushed the footwork.
Not sure he ever really had a shot at Worth anyway. So now 2 in scoring position with 1 out. Mike Morris, the batter. Mets will play the infield back, down by a run. Morris struck out his first time up. And Capuano would love another result just like that.
Struck him out on 2 straight high fastballs.
You know, these are things you have to think about if you're an outfielder. If you have a shot, it's great. But if you don't have a shot, you got to keep the double play in order, because your pitching staff is not a strikeout pitching staff. They're a staff that needs to have the double play in order.
And Morse would be a double play candidate if that were the case.
And Morse looks like he's all confused up there, way out in front of that curveball. He's now 2 for 21 on this young season after hitting 9 home runs in spring training.
Nationals now with 4 hits off Capuano.
Boy, he's got a long bat, doesn't he?
It was a long way from the plate. He needs it. Oh, drilled in the knee. And that hurt. That looked and sounded like it came right off his kneecap. And that'll load up the bases and bring the trainer out for the Nats once again.
Wants to come inside with a fastball. Oh, ouch.
That
sounds painful.
Been there. That hurts.
Oh. Well, Morris walking it off. So a walk, a single, and a hit batsman, and Capuano's got a big mess. Dan Worthen will head out to the mound to talk to him before he pitches to Wilson Ramos with the bases loaded. The Mets are badly in need of a good start.
Yeah.
I mean, over the last 3 days, they've gotten far less than they would have liked from their starting pitchers. First Pelfrey, then Neese, then Dickey yesterday, all going 5 innings or less.
Well, the bullpen has pitched 27 innings in 7 games. That's way too many. 4th in the league. I mean, I know it's early. And also, you're going to have some starts early in the season where guys maybe are not going to take it to 110, 120 pitches. But you got to have 5, 6, get into the 7th.
So a big moment for Capuano in his first Mets start, down by a run, bases loaded, 1 out, 3rd inning. And Ramos, who singled his first time up on an 0-2 pitch. His first pitch swinging at the changeup, 0-1.
And ball 1. Sinking change right here. Starts out knee high. Watch it dip out of the strike zone. There's your difference between hitting 0-1 and 1-0.
Doesn't bite on that one. It's 1-1.
The thing about it for pitchers, you get nervous when the bases are loaded. Not nervous, but you know, you have that anxiety to try to get through the inning. So that it's a hitter, especially young hitters. They want to come up big and get a huge hit instead of not letting the pitcher get them out.
And now he's ahead in the count on Ramos, 1-2.
Well, that's a big difference right there, isn't it?
Well, everybody's going to have a gap, but that's a much bigger than normal gap.
Yeah.
Rick Ankiel, the left-hand hitter, on deck. Capuano ahead on Ramos, 1-2. In there for a call, strike 3. Strikeout number 4 for Chris Capuano, and a big one.
Well, pitcher's pitch right here. Everything away. 2 changeups, a slider in, and then comes with the fastball. This is Black on the corner.
So 2 outs, and now Ankiel, who singled to right center his first time up.
He's got a little hanging slider, I think, that fooled Ankiel.
Now an 0-1. Check swing. Did he go? They check at third. No swing. Tony Randazzo with the call, and it's 1-1. So a couple of sliders from Capuano against the left-hand hitter. You've got these left-handers who only face one lefty in a lineup. It's going to be so strange for them because you got a certain game plan up and down the lineup, except for that one guy.
It's like fastball in, change up away, fastball in, change up away. Oh, lefty up. I got to throw a slider.
There's a strike with a fastball, and it's 1-2. And I wonder, does it make that more difficult if you're not using that pitch predominantly against the righties every second or third inning to have to gear it up again?
I agree, but what you can do as a left-handed starter, occasionally mix in that get-me-over slider for a strike early in the count.
Now the 1-2. And he fouls off that slider to stay alive.
And surprisingly, Gary, there's a lot of left-handers that have a tough time getting left-handers out. You know, they're more adept at getting the righties out.
And certainly Tom Glavine was like that for most of his career. John Franco. 1-2. Again, he just barely gets a piece of the slider.
Very defensive swings right here from Mankiel.
Well, he made a mistake with the fastball before, and Ankiel hit it for a base hit. But I think it's a pitch he can use. Just make sure that he throws that 2-3 inches off the outside corner. More sliders you throw, more apt you are to make a mistake with one.
Again, the 1-2 to Ankiel. Little flare, shallow left. Out goes Reyes, and he makes the grab. Side retired. Not much air under that one, but Reyes got there, and the Nationals strand 3. Capuano out of trouble. It's still 3-2. Saturday night in the big town. That's first home night game of the season. 2-run homer by Beltran in the first, 3-run homer by Espinosa in the second, 3-2 Washington as Chris Capuano leads off in the home third. Nice job by Capuano extricating himself from a jam.
Outstanding pitching, especially that sequence to Ramos to strike him out.
And Tom Gorzelani misses low for ball one. Capuano, not a bad hitter, lifetime 153, 1 home run. But we've seen him swing the bat with authority. Not there, 1-1.
Up and in fastball is a little tough to hit.
Especially lefty on lefty. Nets have had just 1 hit over the first 2 innings. That was Beltran's home run. And a letter high strike, 1-2. Jose Reyes on deck, and then Angel Pagan here in the bottom of the third. As the Mets look to get even in this series with Washington with a day game coming up tomorrow. Struck him out with a breaking ball. Gorzelani has his 4th strikeout, first time through the batting order. 1 down in the 3rd. Mets flex packs, new for the 2011 season, are on sale now at Mets.com. Create a pack of 5, 11, or 17 games. Plus, all flex packs include a ticket for a bonus game. Call 718-507-TIXX or visit Mets.com now for your tickets. Well, here's Reyes, who walked, stole a base, and scored a run in the 1st inning, his first walk of the season. And he bluffs the bunt, takes a strike from Gorzelani. 28-year-old Tom Gorzelani, who pitched at the University of Kansas. Didn't fare well academically there. Wound up going to junior college closer to his home in Illinois, and it was out of Triton Junior College, the same school that produced Kirby Puckett, that he was drafted by the Pirates in '03. Angel Pagan on deck. And Reyes smacks one into right, but Worth is right there. 2 out.
Well, we've seen Worth over the years in Philadelphia, no different in a Washington uniform. Always plays a very shallow right field.
The difference, of course, here or in Washington is if you play shallow and get burned, there's a lot further to run.
Yeah. He's an outstanding outfielder. He goes back on the ball as well as any right fielder in the game.
So here's Pagan, who fouled out to the catcher his first time up, now 0 for 5 in this series. Looked like he had the corner turned in Philadelphia a couple of days ago. But it's been a struggle over the first week or so of the season for Angel.
Well, he had such an outstanding season last year. There's got to be a part of you that, as an athlete, right on deck, you're thinking, boy, can I take it up a notch, or at least reproduce what I did last season?
Line toward the middle, and there is Desmond to pick it off to end the inning. 7 in a row set down by Tom Gorzelani, and the Nats carry a 3-2 lead into the 4th. As the Nats in the lead, leads off against Chris Capuano in the 4th inning. Espinosa is not a particularly big guy, but we have seen from him early in his career, he has got some special power. I mean, the place that he hit his home run out in left center is a place rarely visited by home run hitters in this ballpark. Check swing foul, and it's 1-1.
Well, here's back in the second inning here. And just had too much plate, belt high fastball. And he just got a quick bat. And that ball got out in a hurry.
Just 23 years old out of Long Beach State. He was the shortstop there. A few years after Troy Tulowitzki was the same.
It's that little slider to the right-handed hitter.
Hit 6 home runs last year and 103 at bats. His late call up.
And hit 22 more in the minors. 1-2, pulled over the bag, just foul.
And a lot of what we've seen last year, where you have an off-speed left-hander out there. You got David Wright really hugging that line.
Well, smart. The only problem you have there is that Reyes, if he doesn't move over a step or two.
My feeling is Reyes tells him when the David when the changeup's coming, and then David can slide over.
Well, it was Santana who first asked that Wright play closer to the line. Swing and a miss, and Capuano strikes out Espinosa. That's 5 strikeouts for Chris Capuano. 1 out. Let's go back to Angel Pagan, who hit that liner to short to end the last inning.
Now, Angel's not the best of off-speed hitters, but look at the balance here. He's out in front, but he kept his hands back, and that's actually pretty good hitting. That's a good changeup on the outside corner. If that changeup's over the middle, and he's got more coverage in, he might hit that ball in the ballpark. So that, to me, even though he was full, the fact that you can keep your hands back like he did and let go with one hand, he had a hard line drive right at the shortstop.
Jerry Hairston takes on. Well, what makes a guy a good off-speed hitter?
Well, it's balance. And some guys just don't like it. Pitch recognition. I personally love the changeup. I always loved the changeup. But I know a lot of guys that didn't. That just had a heck of a time. And I don't know if it's something you can teach, but I always was able to hang. And if I had a changeup pitcher, I loved it.
So it's just the ability to keep your weight back? Is that
yes,
what that
it's
is?
Good balance. And not committing too early. If you commit too early with your step, then you're dead meat.
Well, as a pitcher, Ronnie, could you identify the guys who didn't handle the off-speed stuff well and exploit that?
Yeah, absolutely. The way they swing at certain pitches really compels you to go at their weaknesses. They reveal their weaknesses over the course of time. Now, the better the hitter, the less weaknesses they have. But I wanted to ask you, Keith, you're facing Capuano. Nikias took a foul tip there. I'll come out and check, make sure he's all right. So you're facing Capuano tonight. You're going to get a steady diet probably of 2, at least 3 breaking balls in a bat, okay?
Right.
How do you recognize if it's going to be a strike slider or a ball slider? I mean, where it starts, is that how you do the pitch recognition? Or
well, I had a good eye at the plate, and you know, it depends on the breaking ball, and you get familiar with pitchers.
Yeah.
And the more you face them, you know how their breaking ball breaks. And you know how they're. If I faced you, Ronnie, if you're in division, and I faced you, you know, like I faced Steve Carlton, 150 at bats, I would get the feel of your split finger and what you'd like to do. So it's all about, you know, facing the pitcher. I never liked facing a guy for the first time. Got a rookie coming up in September. I hated it. But, you know, you got to get your feel for the pitcher, what he likes to do, how he likes to pitch it. And then you just put it, you file it in the back of your brain. And, you know, you go into that game, you BP, you've already got a visual. I always had a visual of the breaking ball, okay? A fastball, how they pitched.
And that was pre-video.
Yes, it was.
Because I wonder sometimes with the video that guys watch, they're watching it from behind the pitcher.
Exactly.
And of course, when they're batting, it's coming in the opposite direction.
It's no substitute for your mind's eye of what the pitch looks like coming in.
You know, I remember, you know, the few times that you'd face a Nolan Ryan or a guy who had a great breaking ball. That ball would start, and felt like in the batter's box, it would start right at your head. And the next thing you know, it's breaking over the plate for a strike.
That's how you get embarrassed.
Yeah, that happened.
3-2 to Hairston, and he fouls it off.
Well, I would always look ahead of you, Gary. We'd be on the road, and we'd be in the middle of a series, and the second game of a 3-game series, and we're off to the next series in 2 days. They'd have the pitchers coming up that would pitch against you in the notes. And I'd always look to see who was the 1, 2, 3 in the next series we're playing. And if it was John Candelaria, I'd go, oh boy, I got my work cut out for me.
I better get 3 hits tonight.
Might be developing a cold.
Listen, think about this. You
Never.
You were preparing for this job. You're reading the notes from day one.
So
Hairston tries to lay off, but he went around strike 3. First base umpire Brian Gorman punching him out. That's 6 of them for Capuano, including the first 2 here in the 4th. And Jim Riggleman out to try and protect his player and his first base coach Dan Radisson. Both of them were giving it to Brian Gorman.
Well, I tell you what, to me that's not a swing. That's an argument you're not going to win.
Can't argue balls and strikes. First rule of managerial arguing etiquette.
It's interesting. The foundation of the game is the one thing you can't argue.
Can I tell you one other thing about this? If we're talking about hitting, I never had a clue what I hit off pitchers until Davey Johnson that came over to the Mets when Davey had the stats. And I was just, when I found out he had the stats, he told me one day, I'm going to give you a rest this day with Nolan Ryan. And I said, I go, why are you giving me a rest? I go, if you want to give me a rest, give me a rest against Nepper. And he goes, well, look at this. You hit 3-something against Nepper, and you're hitting 170 against Nolan Ryan in your career. I went, Davey, You know, Nepper, I don't know how the heck I'm hitting 300. I go, Ryan, I know he's tough, but I don't mind facing Ryan. I'm a threat. But so all those years that I played, you figure I played 9 years before I came to the Mets. I never knew batting average, what I hit off Tom Seaver, what I hit off of pitcher X, pitcher Y, until Davey.
So to you, it was more who you felt comfortable against rather than who you had a hit or two against.
Absolutely.
Rosalani with a slow ground ball right in to cut it off. And Capuano disposes of the lower third of the order. 1, 2, 3. Now to the bottom of the 4th. Mets down by a run with the heart of the batting order coming up. With the Nationals concludes tomorrow afternoon at 1:10 p.m. Tickets start at $10. Visit Mets.com or call 718-507-TIXX for your tickets now. There are the pitchers for it tomorrow. Staten Island native Jason Marquis goes for the Nats. And Chris Young, who was terrific in his first start of the season, makes his first home start for the Mets. 3, 4, and 5 in the batting order coming up in the bottom of the 4th. Mets have just one hit off Tom Gorzolani, a 2-run homer by Carlos Beltran in the first. Since then, Gorzolani's retired 7 in a row. He struck out David Wright his first time up. David now 1 for 5 in this series. Beltran to follow, and then Scott Hairston here in the bottom of the 4th. Tom Gorzolani making his first appearance of the season. He pitched a simulated game last week, whereas Capuano pitched a game in relief for the Mets. Both teams going with their 5th starter for the first time.
He was a little behind the other starters during spring training. He was fighting some pneumonia. Took him a couple steps backwards.
And David down swinging again. So he's been fanned twice tonight. That is 10 strikeouts and 32 at bats to begin the year. 1 out and nobody out. Let's check in with Kevin.
Well, guys, as Carlos Beltran comes to the plate, the only hit for the Mets, a 2-run home run, his first of the year. He did some big things this offseason. He's getting ready for his academy, his baseball academy in Puerto Rico, to get open in August. And it's going to be a baseball school, but obviously high academic standards as well. And so what he did with the baseball curriculum side of it is he talked to great players and kind of wrote books on each position. So, for example, sat down with Pudge Rodriguez, went to his house, spent about 3 or 4 hours, and Pudge and he kind of wrote a book on catching, what it's like to catch, the important things to train yourself to catch, some game situations, things like that. He talked to Pudge Rodriguez, Roberto Alomar, Pedro Martinez, and wrote books on every position. And I talked to Pudge about it today. He said, I think it's great. He said, to be honest, I wanted to do something like that when I was done playing, so Carlos kind of beat me to the punch. I may kind of piggyback off that and do a catcher's type of school, a catcher's camp when I'm done, but I think it's great. Any way I can help him out. He said Puerto Rico really needs something like this. Very cool stuff by Carlos this offseason, guys.
And, of course, that's a great point because, Major League teams have had a financial incentive to put academies in the Dominican Republic and in Venezuela because players from those countries are not subject to the draft. And so if teams can nurture players in academies, they can sign them en masse and bring them up through their farm systems. That's not the case in Puerto Rico. As Beltran, it's another one deep to left. Hairston back near the wall. It's out of here. Carlos Beltran with his 2nd home run of the night, and he ties the game at 3-3. Book about how to do that. All those kids in the academy are going to be well ahead of the game.
That's the way to hit a home run, by the way. Watch him again. His ball's more down. Watch him let go with the bottom hand again, the top hand. That's his follow through. He lets go from that side, not from the left. Beautiful.
28th career multiple home run game for Carlos Beltran, his first 2 of the season. Mets have only 2 hits, both Beltran home runs. And it's 3-3. Scott Hairston flied to left his first time up. Anyway, talking about Beltran and his academy, players in Puerto Rico are subject to the draft, just like players in the U.S. mainland and in Canada. So it has never. There's never been any financial incentive for major league organizations to put the same kind of academy into Puerto Rico that they've done so prevalently in the Dominican and in Venezuela. And so Carlos has taken it upon himself, invested a lot of his own money in this academy as Hairston goes down looking for the 2nd out. And it's a wonderful thing that he's doing to pass along baseball to the next generation of players in Puerto Rico, where baseball has really suffered over the last 10 or 12 years.
And Gary, you know what else? He obviously put together the baseball curriculum, as I told you, but he got, experts to put together the rest of the curriculum there. And I was talking to him, and he said, he'd be very interested in getting together, meeting with Andre Agassi, of course, the former tennis great, who started just extremely successful schools out in Las Vegas. And so he said, I actually was just one school for Agassi. He said, I'd love to talk to him and pick his brain about how he operates that. So maybe this summer there'll be a meeting of the tennis great.
It's great stuff. Ike Davis struck out his first time up. So it's been all long balls tonight, accounting for the runs in this game. 2 home runs by Beltran for the Mets, a 3-run shot by Danny Espinosa for the Nats.
Well, he got to the spot. That's just he likes that ball out over the plate, does he not? And he'll get a smile. Maybe he saw the replay.
Well, it's as Ike gets nailed by that pitch, and he'll go down to first base as that got him on the hand.
Well, when you hang in against lefties like Ike does, you're going to get hit.
Met by the trainer Ray Ramirez as he gets down to first. Hoping that right hand is okay. Rizolani hit just 2 batters all of last year in 136 innings.
Ike always drives in, and you can see that got him all underneath. Might have got almost lucky he didn't get his wrist.
So Chin-Lung Hu bats with a runner at first and 2 out. Hu struck out his first time up. He knows all about getting hit on the hand. He broke his left thumb last year and missed 2 months during last season while with the Dodgers. Hu played parts of 4 years with LA before being traded over to the Mets in the offseason for a minor league pitcher, Mike Antonini. A changeup by Gorzolani, and it's 1-1. Who over the course of those 4 years with the Dodgers started only 37 games and only 7 at second base, the rest at shortstop. But he is such an accomplished fielder. The Mets really wanted him as their backup middle infielder this year. Good stop by Ramos, and it's 2-1.
One of the funnier moments in our little scrum with Terry Collins, he was asked who would be the 3rd catcher if one of the second catchers was in the game and got hurt, and he identified who, and someone asked, does Chin-Lung know that he's the 3rd catcher? He said, not yet.
Does now. Rizolani looking in on Davis, who's no threat to run.
By the way, Ronnie, when I was talking to Chin-Lung today, asked him other positions he's played in Taiwan. He mentioned center field. No word on catching.
Good cut by Hu, and it's 2-2. Well, this is why it's so important to keep Carlos Beltran in the lineup. What he can do for you offensively when he's at his best is, well, it's mind-boggling. This is the guy who had 41 home runs for the Mets a few years ago. Now has 282 home runs in his major league career. Probably is going to sit tomorrow, day game after a night game, although that's not set in stone. And after the 2 home runs tonight, Terry Collins might be encouraged to run him out there tomorrow. I don't know.
Again, the pitch count has got to be a problem here for Gorzolani. Going pretty well, but 72 pitches, hadn't got out of the 4th inning.
Took him 28 pitches to 5 batters just to get through the first. Hu hanging tough at 2-2. And he pops one foul, and will do it again. And it's in there for a call, strike 3. Gorzolani gets Hu looking. That's 7 strikeouts for Gorzolani, including 3 in the inning. But in between, Carlos Beltran slugged his 2nd home run of the game. First 2 of the year for Beltran, the only 2 hits for the Mets tonight, and it's 3-3 after 4. Youth baseball leagues with the SNY Play Ball Award presented by Sports Authority, offering $5,000 grants to 6 in-need organizations to be used for new equipment, uniforms, or field improvements. For more information and details on how to apply, visit SNY.TV or any local Sports Authority location. It was a beautiful afternoon in the New York metropolitan area today, and many of the local little leagues had their opening day festivities.
Well, only in New York. I was taking the train down to Tribeca early this morning, and full on the train were kids in their Little League uniforms going down to have their Little League parade. Only in New York would you do that. It's pretty cool.
It's such a special time of year for kids in an area of the country where you don't get to play baseball for all that many months. It's not like being in Southern California or Florida where they play all year long. As Desmond yanks one down the left field line toward the pole, and it's out of here.
Wow.
Ian Desmond with his first home run of the year, tucking it inside the left field foul pole, and the Nats go right back in front 4-3. Well, just as Espinosa did in the second inning after Beltran's first home run, Desmond taking some oomph out of Beltran's second home run.
He didn't even really follow through on that swing. I think he was fooled on that hard slider. And trust your hands, the quickness of your hands. That he turned on that slider big time.
That is the proverbial wrapping it around the foul pole.
So Capuano's given up a pair of home runs, as has Gorzelati. The Nats with a 4-3 lead, and Jason Worth takes a strike. Capuano's been a guy who's given up home runs in his career, as many as 31 in his best year in Milwaukee. There's the inside pitch on Chris Capuano, brought to you about the Xerox business of baseball. Xerox, ready for real business.
Well, I was saying control the righties, which has been a problem already. Zimmerman came into the game hitting close to 600. Power changeup, when it's working well, it's a pitch that you can get a lot of strikeouts in. And we talked about it before the game started. Try to eat up as many innings as he can tonight. He's here in the 5th. You'd love to see him get into the 7th.
His pitch count not as much of a concern as Gorzelati's, at least not at this point. There's Zimmerman on deck. Mike Morse behind him. Well, R.A. Dickey went 5 yesterday. John Neese 4 the day before. Mike Pelfrey 2 the day before that. And Worth down swinging. That's 7 strikeouts for Capuano. So these two lefties, neither one of them breaks 90 miles an hour much. Each has 7 strikeouts.
When you're facing Capuano, what are you told? Look for the ball down. He's going to throw that changeup down. He's going to throw that fastball in. And occasionally he gets surprised, as Worth has a couple of times tonight.
He threw that fastball right by him, up and in.
So 1 out. Here's Zimmerman, who singled to center his last time up, 1 for 2. See the pitch count for Capuano, not bad at all, with 1 out in the 5th inning. Like to see him at least get through 6 today.
Nice break from last night. Only 1 walk so far this evening. 9, I think, for the Mets in last night's game.
Last time a Mets starter went 6 innings, it was R.A. Dickey in Florida. Fastball low and away, and Zimmerman chasing 1-2. Two. Michael Morse on deck. Two to Zimmerman. He just fouls off that changeup.
Well, pretty standard motion here by Chris. Meeting the glove, leg coming up. Boy, good balance right there. That leg all the way to the letters.
He worked on a couple of occasions during spring training this year with the great Sandy Koufax. who emphasized to Capuano keeping that hip pointed toward the batter and moving forward. Hit hard. Reyes can't make the backhand play, and Zimmerman is aboard. Reyes bailing out as that hot shot came his way on one bounce.
Going to be a base hit here. Tough hop, tough chance.
And it will be a hit for Zimmerman. So 6 hits in the game for the Nationals. 1 out and 1 on. Here's Michael Morris, who was hit by a pitch his last time up. And he lifts one to center field. Easy for Angel Pagan. And that's the second out. Zimmerman back to first with 2 away. And Wilson Ramos coming up. When Koufax talked to Capuano about keeping the hip directed toward home plate, what was he doing before that was getting him in trouble?
Well, what happens if you open up too much, then you don't have anything on the baseball. Also, the ball will be up in the strike zone. If you keep your hip pointed at the hitter, that means even more importantly, it's connected to your shoulder, that your shoulder stays in. And that is the key for every pitcher. The longer you can keep your shoulder in, I think it's true for hitters too.
Exactly.
The longer you keep your shoulder in, that's a position of power.
It's the equivalent of a hitter opening up like Pagan, Gary, with his shoulder from the left side of the plate. It's the exact same thing.
Just when Koufax tells you, you might listen a little more. It's like,
oh, and 1 to Ramos. Getting an audience with Sandy Koufax is like would have been getting an audience with the late J.D. Salinger.
That's right. That's right.
It doesn't come out very often. If he does, you're going to listen.
See, just tucks that chin right into the shoulder before he releases. That's a beautiful move. Also allows you to hide the ball better when you do that.
Ramos lines one toward the gap in right center field. Pagan tries to cut it off, does so. To third goes Zimmerman. He'll be held up there, and into second Ramos. That's a great play by Angel Pagan to flag that ball down in the gap. Otherwise, Zimmerman would have scored easily.
Boy, I tell you what, Bull Porter is third base with 2 outs. I know you can't assume it's going to overthrow the cutoff man, but boy, oh boy, 2 outs, take a chance here. What a play by Pagan. He just busted from the get-go, and he realized this ball gets by on the run scores. This is obviously run saving right here. I just think Zimmerman should have been flagged home. Make the Mets make the perfect relay, the perfect throw home.
So now second and third and 2 out, and a huge batter for Capuano against the only lefty among the position players for the Nats tonight. Ankiel, who's 1 for 2. And he bounces one to the right side, and Chin Lung Hu slides over to get it. Side retired. The home run by Ian Desmond gives the Nationals the lead, but Capuano does a great job getting out of further trouble with help from Angel Pagan. Desmond's first of the year. Halfway through, it's 4-3 Nats.
Yeah, that's a
Down by a run again. They'll have 8, 9, and 1 in the order coming up. First night game at Citi Field. Not a totally uncomfortable evening. Temperature in the upper 40s. Not much wind. Mike Nikias leads off. Popped to third his first time up.
That might be me, but it would seem much more uncomfortable at the 4 o'clock game yesterday than it did here for the 7 o'clock game. Maybe because it was such a beautiful day today.
Chris Capuano on deck, and then Jose Reyes in the 5th. And a strike to Nikias, 1-1. Mike Nikias, 28 years old, first drafted by Texas. That's got him in a deal with the Rangers, in which they sent Victor Diaz in 06. Nikias pops one up. Desmond with the angle, going toward the line, and catches it in fair territory for the first down. So 1 out and nobody on.
Number 5, Victor Diaz. Isn't that the number he wore here?
Played right field, hit a few home runs. Well, a little over a week has gone in the Major League Baseball season. You've got one team undefeated coming into the day. Texas lost to Baltimore today. Baltimore off to a tremendous start. You've had a lot of things happen in this first week that don't often happen, including 2 big sluggers with appendicitis and 1 big slugger retiring rather than getting suspended again. It's been a very interesting first week or so. Capuano drives one to deep right field. He's going to burn Worth playing shallow, and it rolls to the Mozo. Capuano into second base with a well-struck double. Now, we saw him hit one the other way in spring training over the left fielder's head to drive in 3 runs. This time he yanks one to right.
Well, fastball in the outer half.
He has a nice idea up there.
Yes, he does. And Worth, Garrett, nice call, Garrett. Worth playing shallow, no chance.
So what are your impressions of this first week so far?
Well, you know, last year you never want to judge a team like the Baltimore Orioles because they finished 12 games over 500 after Buck Showalter took the helm. But you know what? He does have them playing different, and they've starting to get in some good young pitching. Jake Arrieta, Zach Britton, who pitched last night.
And they won today again.
That's the second game of a doubleheader after they got rained out. So Texas looking for the split. Well, those have been the 2 hottest teams in the American League.
For me, the biggest surprise is Boston was penciled in to win 100 games. They're 1-7 now after losing to the Yankees today. San Francisco's fine. They're 3-4. I don't know how they did today, but probably playing as we speak. But they'll be fine. Their issues.
Reyes hits one to deep left field, but this one's playable for Hairston drifting back. Capuano halfway, and there are 2 out.
Their issues is that they've had a young player come up that put him at first base and moved Aubrey Huff to right field, and Aubrey Huff cannot play right field. So defensively, they're challenged where they've always been a great pitching defense team.
I think one of the nice stories right now, it's only a week. The Pirates are 5-3. They're losing by a run tonight. Clint Hurdle, the new manager, got this team off playing well. I think that would be fun to see the Pirates have a decent season.
They've got a couple of good young developing hitters. Jose Tabata, Neil Walker. These guys were young players last year. Another year under their belts. Pitching's going to be a big concern for them though. Here's Angel Pagan, who takes wide for ball 1. I'll tell you what's caught my eye. I mean, the Phillies, we saw them the other day, and their offense is really cooking. But 2 of those 4 aces have already gotten routed.
Yeah.
I mean, Mets did it to Hamels the other night, and then Cliff Lee got knocked down in the 4th inning last night by the Braves. It just goes to show as Pagan pops one up, they're not invincible. You're not going to throw your glove out to the mound every day and get a win. Espinosa squeezes it. The Mets can't bring around Capuano after his double. We're through 5 in Citi Field. Nats by a run. for it tonight, who are the only 5 players in Major League history with 550 or more home runs and a 300 lifetime batting average. Chew on that.
Yeah.
Chris Capuano back to the mound for the 6th inning. 4-3 Washington. And Danny Espinosa, who has the biggest hit of the night, leads off for Washington. Hit a 3-run homer back in the 2nd inning. Capuano struck him out in the 4th. And it's ball 1. It'll be Espinosa, then Jerry Hairston Jr. And the pitcher's spot for the Nats in the 6th. Big slider for a strike. 1-1. You were talking about that.
Yeah.
Get me over slider to the right-hand batter.
It's a gimme early in the count because they can't look for it.
Comes back with the changeup, and it's 1-2.
No, what I mean by that is off Capuano, you're looking for sinking life on his fastball or the changeup. Those are the 2 pitches you look at. So as soon as you're a right-handed hitter and you see it spinning, you go, I got to take it. Now the left-handed hitters, of course, have to look for that pitch.
The long ball has hurt Capuano, but he's been able to get out of a couple of other jams. Good cut by Espinosa on the fastball.
Well, the 3-run shot, that's what hurts. You don't want to. Ferguson, Jenkins, Catfish Hunter always give up a lot of home runs, but they're always solo shots. Most of the time.
In the 3rd inning, the Nats had the bases loaded, 1 out, but Capuano struck out Ramos, got Ankiel on a pop-up. Then, after the home run by Desmond put them back in front, 2nd and 3rd and 2 out of the 5th, and he got Ankiel to ground out. And he strikes out Espinosa for the 2nd time. That's 8 strikeouts for Capuano. He's had as many as 12 in a game in his career. Let's check in with Chris Carlin. He's got the New York State Smokers Quit Line game break. How many games do you get home runs from both your catchers?
That's right. Snyder had one also today.
Ruiz with the pinch hit grand slam to break that game open.
Roy Oswalt 2-0 for those fighting Phils.
After Lee got knocked out early last night. By the way, congratulations to Chipper Jones last night. 2,500 hits.
Wow.
Nice milestone for him. That was a gala last night with Bobby Cox throwing out the first pitch to Freddie Gonzalez passing the torch. Hairston is 0 for 2, popped to 2nd and struck out. And he pops this one up to shallow right. Beltran coming on. And there were 2 away. By the way, in the head-to-head meetings between the Hairston brothers, this is now the 11th game they've played against each other. Scott has got the advantage. His team has won 7 of the 10 previous games. And Scott hit .318 in those 10 games, and Jerry just .216.
That means he's paying for dinner.
Well,
guys, sometimes you never know with the brothers too. When the Mets got back from their first road trip, Scott had this huge bag that he brought down to spring training with Jerry's signature on it, and I was like, what's the deal with that? He's like, it's a good bag. I was talking to Jerry today, and I mentioned that. He said, wait a second, I've been looking for that bag. So I guess I let the cat out of the bag with that one.
popped up by Gorzalani. Long run for anybody. Reyes trying to get there, and he can't. And it smacks into the tarp. Well, it's like they say in baseball. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. Part of that is stealing your brother's bag.
I got 3 younger brothers. I know all about that.
By the way, watching Reyes bang into the tarp reminds me of what happened in San Diego last night, where they had to take the tarp out of mothballs.
That's right.
4 rain delays in San Diego, and a suspended game between the Padres and the Dodgers. Little tapper back to Capuano. And the side retired. So Capuano might be finishing off his night with a 1-2-3 inning. 4-3 Washington. brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts. America runs on Dunkin'. And by Verizon Fios. Switch to Fios and network ahead. To learn more, visit Verizon.com/GetFios. Chris Capuano, 98 pitches through 6 innings. And he and Mike Nickius talking things over in the dugout.
It's always good to have a little communication between the catcher and pitcher.
Wonder whether he's going to get another inning.
I would like to see it.
Action is up in the Mets bullpen.
I think he's throwing good right now. Take away 2 pitches, he's got a shutout, 8 punch-outs.
Meanwhile, David Wright, Carlos Beltran, and Scott Hairston will try and bring the Mets from behind in the 6th. Wright has been up twice and struck out twice. Beltran behind him has been up twice and hit 2 home runs. And Carlos will be trying to do something that no Met has ever done in their 50 years of baseball. No Met has ever hit 3 home runs in a game at home.
How can that be?
Didn't do it at the Polo Grounds. Didn't do it at Shea. Haven't done it here. 7 Mets have hit 3 home runs in a game, all on the road. The last one was Jose Reyes in Philadelphia in 06. 1-1 to Wright. And the way Carlos is swinging the bat tonight, the Mets would love to get right on base in front of him.
No full, and then you can't pitch around Beltran.
They've got a right-hander up in the bullpen for the Nats. Now it's 3-1 to Wright. Rosalani up to 87 pitches starting this 6th inning. On 3-1, David watches high and away, ball 4, and the Mets get the leadoff man on for only the 2nd time tonight.
Well, the 2 home runs, 2nd inning, high fastball out over the plate. 4th inning, solo shot, outer half down. Both not good pitches. Carlos all over it.
So now Beltran with the tying run at first and nobody out gets his 3rd at bat. By the way, in case you're wondering, Beltran has never hit 3 home runs in a game. 28 times he's had 2 of them. Brian Broderick, the Rule 5 pick for the Nats, is up in the bullpen. Swinging at that high fastball, and it's 1-1.
Put a little something, a little extra on it. Now, even though it's 88, that's the similar pitch hit the home run on the first time up.
He had visions of sugar plums dancing in his head.
These 2 left-handed starters are eerily alike.
So far, Gorzelani has the upper hand. And time as for by Beltran. Meanwhile, David Wright is getting a very short lead at first base. Gorzelani not known for having a great pickoff move, but David not getting very far off the base at all. Why would you think of running the way Beltran's swinging the bat tonight? Hit in the air, deep left center field. Back goes Hairston to the warning track. He has room and he throws.
Oh my God!
Wright is on his way to 3rd. Ankiel retrieves. Wright will be held at 3rd base, and Beltran is at 2nd. Now, the one time they keep Beltran in the ballpark, Jerry Hairston Jr. flubs the fly ball. It'll be an error charge to Hairston. And the Mets are in business with the tying and go-ahead runs in scoring position and nobody out.
This has got to be on your heels, and that ball starts bouncing. How do you do it?
Not only that, it takes his eye off like he's looking into the infield. He shied away.
How do you feel as a pitcher when that happened?
That was a pretty good reaction for the pitcher there, considering.
So now Jerry makes the error, and Scott has a chance to cash it in. It's been a rough start for Scott Hairston. 0 for 2 tonight, 1 for 12 on the season. Jim Riggleman out to the mound. He has the right-hander up in the bullpen, a very inexperienced right-hander in Brian Broderick.
I just can't believe he missed that ball.
Rickleman does not appear as though he's going to make the change here.
Hard to take a pitcher out when your left fielder doesn't catch an easy fly ball. Probably thinking as a manager you want to go take your left fielder out.
I think he took his eye off it to see whether Wright was tagging up at first base.
Oh, I agree. I agree.
Make the put out.
So a base hit here could give the Mets the lead. With Wright at third and Beltran at second. Infield in at the corners, back up the middle. And Hairston makes a big rip and a changeup, 0-1. And that's been the story of Scott's season so far.
Story of the Mets season also. You know, first pitch changeup, pitch out of the strike zone. You know, they have a chance. The infield's back to just get a run.
Exactly the same thing that happened to Reyes last night with the Mets down by a run late. First pitch changeup from Tyler Clippard. Scott pops it foul. That'll come back out of play, and it's 0-2.
Well, just a bit two big rips by Hairston, and we talked in the open about Pudge Rodriguez, a professional hitter, future Hall of Famer, drove in 2 runs yesterday with a base hit the opposite field, shortening up the swing.
That would at least put the ball in play here. It's 0-2. And the dirt and stopped by Ramos to keep Wright at third. I mean, you can conceivably take the lead here without a hit if you can get 2 productive outs.
That was pretty impressive from Ramos. That ball never made it to the dish. Still blocked it.
Terry Collins was asked what he wanted from Reyes last night. He said, I wanted at least a ground ball to second base. You take that right here in a heartbeat from Hairston. One-two. Blowing inside. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Well, his strikeout pitch is either that changeup down and away or that fastball up in the strike zone. I think that's what he's going to see right here.
Now Gorzolani's 2-2. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. So after Jerry Hairston Jr. makes the error, Scott Hairston strikes out. Bad night for the Hairstons. 8 strikeouts for Gorzolani.
Nice change right here. Look at him turn it over. You can see that screwball kind of change up there. That was a great visual for you folks.
So will the Mets be able to turn the tide in this nasty stretch with runners in scoring position? Ike Davis gets a crack at it. Ike tonight has struck out and been hit on the hand by a pitch.
Go away, look away.
Into the air to right center field. Back toward the gap goes Ankiel on the run, and he won't get there. And the Mets will take the lead. Wright scores. Beltran right behind him. Davis trying for 3. The relay throw not in time. A 2-run triple for Ike Davis. 5-4 New York. The big hit the Mets have been waiting for.
Flat slider, let go with one hand. Look at the power of Ike. Hits it out the way. Ankiel had to be shading way the opposite field. For this had a lot of hang time. And nice hustle by Ike taking the extra base.
Second career triple for Ike Davis, who leads the Mets with 9 RBIs. And he gives them the lead 5-4. And that's going to be all for Tom Gorzolani. As Ike catches his breath, Gorzolani takes his exit. Call to the bullpen brought to you by Lincoln. Mets up 5-4 as Broderick comes in for the Nats.
Lonnie out of the game after 5 1/3. Leads trailing 5-4 and leaves with a runner at 3rd and 1 out. The Mets will send up Daniel Murphy to pinch hit for Chin Lung Hu, facing the rookie right-hander Brian Broderick. The infield is in for the Nats. And Murphy takes a strike.
Well, Broderick had his finest season last year. Rule 5 from St. Louis. He went 14-7 in the minor leagues, including 11-2 in Tulsa.
Sinker slider pitcher out of Grand Canyon University. And he misses inside to Murphy, 1-1. Mike Nickius is on deck. Although the Mets have Josh Tolley as a left-hand hitter, the Nats have a lefty up in the bullpen. 1-1 to Murphy, and that nips the inside corner, and it's 1-2.
Good change up there.
Doug Slayton up in the bullpen for the Nats. Murphy 0 for 5 as a pinch hitter, 2 for 10 overall. Here's Tolley. Here's the 1-2, and that just missed. 2-2. A walk, a drop fly ball, and Ike Davis cashes them in with his second career triple to put the Mets in front. Hairston dropping Beltran's fly ball to set the stage. 2-2 to Murphy. Hit toward the hole, base hit. In comes Davis. Daniel Murphy with a pinch hit base hit. And it's 6-4 New York.
Well, nice hitting by Murph there. He pitched him all inside and then finally tried to sneak a sinker by him, and that's just pitcher perfect and just out of the reach of Desmond.
Sometimes good things happen when you put the ball in play.
So the Mets, who are 1 for 17 with runners in scoring position the previous 2 games, are 3 for 7 now tonight, and they've got a 2-run lead. Mike Nickius up for the 3rd time. He's popped up his first 2 trips as Murphy's chased back.
Watch Murph here. Not the least bit worried inside. You got 2 strikes. You got to cover the plate.
That's why he's on this team. Guy can come off the bench and get a hit for you. And Nickius takes one on the outside edge. Lucas Duda has come out on deck to bat for Chris Capuano, who's now pitcher of record on the long side. Did what the Mets needed him to do tonight, give them 6 credible innings, gave up a couple of home runs, but otherwise was sharp. And now has a chance to be a winning pitcher. Ramos setting up inside. There goes Murphy, and Nickius on a hit-and-run play sneaks one through the hole. Murphy heads for 3rd, and the Mets have runners at the corners. Mike Nickius with his first hit of the season as he executes on the hit-and-run.
Murph doesn't look back. I think he was straight stealing, to be honest with you, Gary. He did not look over his shoulder.
How are you covering with the shortstop on that play, by the way? And if you have a guy throwing 100 miles an hour, you might do that, but come on.
So now here's Duda pinch hitting for Capuano. And Ramos backhands that one. 1-0. Lucas Duda had the biggest hit for the Mets yesterday. A pinch hit double that kicked up chalk down the right field line in the 5th inning to drive in a run. First and 3rd and 1 out. Duda lays off. 2-0.
We'll take another look at the hit and run here. If it is, let's see if Murph peaks. Yes, sir. Hit and run all the way. Nice call by Terry Collins. Forcing the issue. Push it. Push the envelope.
And that helps Nickius get his first hit of the year.
That's even better. The kid struggling.
And now it's 3-0 to Duda. So Broderick, the rookie, has come in. He gave up the Murphy hit with the infield in. And then the slowly hit ball by Nickius that went for a hit on the hit and run play. Now he's in a tough spot against a power hitter, Duda, 3-0. As the Mets have picked it up with runners in scoring position tonight. Will Lucas be swinging? He takes a strike, 3-1. Jose Reyes waiting on deck. They had 4 home runs coming down the stretch last year after a big power year in the minors. And there's a strike on the inside, 3-2. Broderick making his second appearance. He gave up 4 runs in 2/3 of an inning in his first outing. 3-2. Nickius running. Duda strikes out. Ramos hesitates, throws to second, and Nickius is tagged out before Murphy can make a break from third. So it's a strike him out, throw him out double play. But the Mets grab the lead as Hairston's drop of a fly ball leads to 3 runs. Ike Davis cashes in with a 2-run triple. Murphy has a run scoring hit, and it's 6-4 New York after 6. Question we asked which players who have 550 home runs also have a 300 batting average. There are 5 of them, including yesterday's retiree Aaron Mays, A-Rod, Babe Ruth, and Manny, who, you know, we talked a lot about Barry Bonds when he first was suspected of using steroids as Brad Emus comes in to play second base, that he would have been a first ballot Hall of Famer without the steroids. And here you've got Manny Ramirez, who now is going to have no chance to make it to the Hall of Fame, completely has tarnished his reputation. And you wonder, had he never used, how good a player would he have been?
Agreed.
I mean, you don't know when he started. You only know when he got caught for the first time a couple of years ago and again this year.
Well, when you act like a knucklehead, you can assume the worst. How about that?
For him to retire means that he's got the big bankroll.
Oh, he's made a lot of money in the game.
So he's saying adios to some serious coin.
Ian Desmond leads off. Well, he had just a 1-year, $2 million contract this year, and he was going to lose 2/3 of it on the suspension. And, you know, he made hundreds of millions of dollars in his career.
Never know. Could be some luggage at some ball field.
Taylor Buchholz working in relief for New York. And he's ahead on Ian Desmond 0-2. Buchholz taking over for Chris Capuano, who went 6 innings, allowed 4 runs, 7 hits, no walks, 8 strikeouts, a hit batsman, couple of home runs, and a chance to be a winning pitcher. Ball and 2 strikes to Desmond, who homered down the left field line his last time up to put the Nats ahead 4-3. But Ike Davis's 2-run triple turned that around. Jason Worth on deck, then Ryan Zimmerman as the Nats try to rebound. And the curveball fouled off the right side. Still 1-2. Taylor Buchholz, whose pitching namesake got routed today at Fenway Park. Clay Buchholz for the Red Sox.
Right.
What a day for Russell Martin, huh?
He's been playing great.
Where's that power been the last couple of years?
In the right town, I guess now. I don't know.
Martin with 2 home runs today for the Yankees. Drove in 4 and a 9-4 win. 1-2 to Desmond. Tapped on the ground and Emis moving. 1 away. So 1 out and nobody on. Jason Worth coming up. Let's check in with Kevin.
Well, guys, I talked to Buchholz about his signature pitch, which is that big curveball. And he said, I started throwing it at about 12 years old. For a long time, I had a real slow looping curveball. But later, when I got an A ball with the Phillies, they changed it. And they loosened my grip a little bit. I probably hold my thumb a little bit higher on it. He said I started throwing it as hard as I could. And then it became what it is today, a tighter curveball. He said, to me, it actually kind of comes out a little bit like a fastball. Ronnie, I wasn't sure that was necessarily possible. What does he mean when he said it? Usually when you think of curveball, you think of a totally different feel. But Taylor says his is a little different than most.
Worth out to center field, and Pagan is there for the second out.
Kevin, I think what he's trying to explain is that in the past, when he threw that breaking ball, you could tell there was such a big difference between how he released his fastball and how he released his curveball. But because he's almost speeding his arm up when he throws his curveball, they both have the same appearance. And that is the whole trick of pitching in the big leagues, is that everything comes out of the same slot and it all looks the same until the ball gets there. And I think that's what Taylor's done in his career of late.
It is such a hard curveball. There aren't a lot of guys who throw their curve that way. And that's, to me, that's how Darryl Kyle threw his curveball, right?
Darryl Kyle, trying to think of Dave Stieb in the day had that kind of. Coney would throw it as hard could be. So it puts a lot of strain on your arm. Puts a lot of strain on your body. If you can use your legs more, it can take some of that strain off your arm. But when it's thrown right, not many hitters see that kind of spin on the ball.
Broken back grounder. Davis can't get it. Emis does, and Buchholz covers, and a very effective inning for Taylor Buchholz. 1-2-3 go the Nats. 7th inning stretch time. 6-4 New York. with that
I
music.
feel like doing a little jazz hands. People in New York are always in a hurry. Those people were scurrying around.
Bottom of the 7th, Jose Reyes leads off against Brian Broderick. Reyes walked, stole a base, scored a run in the first. He's flied out twice since then, 0 for 2. Mets leading 6-4 as they bat in the 7th. It'll be Reyes, Pagan, and right for the Mets. Bobby Parnell getting ready in the bullpen after Taylor Buchholz pitched a spotless 7th inning. And with Buchholz needing only 8 pitches to get through that 7th inning, it makes you think, would Terry Collins think about running him out there for the 8th? But Parnell is up after a rough outing yesterday. Reyes lifts one to left, and Jerry Hairston will try and corral this one. Keeps his eye on it and makes the catch. It's got to be so embarrassing anytime an outfielder drops a fly.
I hear you.
Particularly one that might cost his team the game.
Yeah. You know what? We're just talking about Parnell up there. It's a manager showing confidence in his pitcher. You know, you're my 8th guy. You had a bad day. You're going to run him right back out there.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. And over the long haul, that's probably the best move to make. But you're scuffling to get a win. You know?
And here's the other piece. I mean, this is the 8th game of the season for the Mets. How many times have they had a 1 or 2 run lead going into the late innings?
No,
they haven't.
Have not.
They had the one in Florida where K-Rod gave it up in the 9th, but they took the lead in the top of the 9th in that game. So they haven't really had an 8th inning setup situation. This is really the first one. And I think that, for more than any other reason, is why Terry will probably go to Parnell, just to establish that he's that guy.
And you want to get to the point where, you know, that whole everyone knows their role kind of deal. And if everyone does know their role and they perform at that level, boy, it can be a great thing.
So far, because the Mets have been playing kind of lopsided games both ways, everybody's kind of been working in every different kind of role. But these are the games that you set your bullpen up for. 3-1 now to Pagan, who's had a rough night, 0 for 3. 0 for 7 in this series. Rookie right-hander Brian Broderick in just his 2nd big league appearance. And Pagan swings through the fastball, 3-2. He just looks all out of kilter.
And I think, you know, it goes back when Kevin was talking to the hitting coach, Dave Hudgens. You know, I don't know a lot about hitting, but he really inspired me because he taught me a lot. And that is that the more body that Pagan uses, the slower his swing gets, the longer it gets.
And he walks. So Pagan is aboard with 1 out. David Wright coming up. Let's check in with Janae Coakley, see what's coming up tonight on Geico Sports Night.
Thanks, Gary. Tonight on Geico Sports Night, we will update the Rangers' playoff hopes, and we will have all the National League East action. That's tonight after Lincoln Postgame Live.
All right, thanks, Janae. We'll see you a little bit later on. Right now, David Wright steps in with 1 on and 1 out. David walked to lead off in the 6th inning. Mets would score 3 in that 6th to take a 6-4 lead. David struck out in his first 2 at bats tonight, so he's 0 for 2. Pagan takes off first pitch, slider outside, and no chance for Ramos. Pagan with his 4th stolen base of the year.
Well, Pagan has no fear. He is aggressive on the bases when it comes to stealing. He was just primed. Terrific jump.
And you know what? These are the things you run into when you keep a Rule 5 young pitcher. He might be developed to get hitters out, but he doesn't know all the smaller nuances of the game. Holding runners, keeping them close, all those things that take time to develop.
He started last year pitching in the Florida State League. That's how inexperienced Broderick is. 2-0 now to Wright.
Florida State League to the big leagues. Jeez. It's a big jump.
Well, the Nats, like the Mets, trying to hang on to talented players in the Rule 5 draft. Mets have 2 of them this year with Emis and Beato. Got to keep them all year, otherwise you have to give them back. David on a 2-0 off-speed pitch. 2-1.
Good sinker right there, and there's the strikeouts right there for David. The increase. And, you know, even the 2007, that's just way too much for the type of hitter David is. It just astounds me.
And the curveball misses. 3-1. Now Beltran with 2 home runs tonight. We'll get another crack at number 3. Three and 1 now to right. Pagan trying to take Broderick's attention away. Slow ground ball. Pagan will move up as Desmond throws out right for the second out. So 2 away. Pagan now at third. And Beltran, who hit his 2 home runs as a right-hand batter, will get his first crack from the left side tonight. His third at bat was the fly ball to left that Jerry Hairston Jr. dropped that set the stage for the Mets' go-ahead rally. And Carlos moves back 1-0. Scott Hairston waiting on deck. And the curveball for a strike. If you're Carlos Beltran, you've been sitting on the bench. You've seen 6 hitters bat against Broderick, a guy you've never faced before. What are you trying to figure out? What's the most important thing for him to try to learn as he's sitting there watching Broderick work to these half a dozen hitters?
He's pretty basic, Gary. Sinker, slider. So he's a right-hander, sinker, slider. You're a left-hand hitter. They're going to run that sinker away. He pitched inside to Murphy in that tight situation with runners on base. He threw him 3 straight pitches inside. That's something to think about. He likes to maybe come into lefties with men on base.
He nips that inside corner with a fastball, 2-2.
But the bread and butter right-hand sinker baller against a lefty, Gary, from my experience, that bread and butter is their sinker. They live on that sinker. They can pretty much throw it for a strike. They're grooved there. They get in trouble, they're going to go to it. And you got to get them in that well once too often.
2-2. Hit in the air to right center field. And Worth is there. That retires the side. A walk and 1 left. On to the 8th. 6-4 New York. Back from a rough outing yesterday, takes over in the 8th inning.
Yeah, he struggled in last night's game, especially with his control, with a couple of walks in his 2/3 innings pitched.
Numbers brought to you by Hancock.
I have Hancocks on my Mercedes. They're a nice tire.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Mike Morris swings and misses at a 97-mile-an-hour fastball as we start the 8th. Morris has struck out, been hit by a pitch, and flied out 0 for 2. Mets led 2-0 on Beltran's first inning home run. Trailed 3-2 on Espinosa's 3-run homer. Tied it on Beltran's second home run in the 4th. But then Desmond homered in the 5th, put the Nats up before the Mets put 3 on the board in the 6th. The big hit, a 2-run triple by Ike Davis. And after a very solid inning of relief by Taylor Buchholz, Bobby Parnell trying to do the same in the 8th to set it up for Francisco Rodriguez. Wilson Ramos on deck, and then Rick Ankiel for the Nats in the 8th. Now the 0-2 to Morris, and a check swing foul. Came off the knob of the bat.
Well, I'd be inclined with Parnell's 95-mile-an-hour fastball. Morris struck out back in the 2nd inning off of Capuano, who throws 88-89. Threw it right by him 2 in a row. I think I'd run that cheddar right upstairs on him.
With that bat held out away from him like that and standing so far from the plate, does that make him more vulnerable upstairs to the fastball?
He might be gripping the bat too tight. Now, I held my hands way far out over the plate too, Garrett, but it's all about where you go when you start attacking the ball. Your hands go back. He's got a bit of a long swing. He is way off that plate and way deep. He's got a very long bat.
1-2, slider fouled off.
See his swing on the slider. He's got a better swing at it. It's kind of slider speed bat. Right now, I mean, in spring training, he was hitting everything. You know where I would aim, Keith? When he puts that bat up, I'd throw it right at his hands because there's no way he's going to be able to get to that pitch.
So up and in.
Yeah, up and in. Right.
Yep.
Once he puts those hands, it's right on the inside corner. Right there, right underneath.
Underneath the elbow.
Yeah.
Nikias sets up away, and it's up and in, 2-2. Parnell in his outing yesterday, first 3 batters, walk, base hit, walk.
Throwing a little with tension the last couple of days. Really free and easy when he was down in Florida.
And that fastball's upstairs, 3-2. So after getting ahead 2 strikes on Morris, Parnell, working with a 2-run lead, runs the count full.
That's a strike. I'm sorry. I mean, that's letters. Come on. What's it say in the rule book?
8th pitch of the at bat, and Morris fouls it off. Wow, is that Keith arguing for strikes?
I'm getting them. I'm getting in there. Chipping away.
To me, the high pitch was a good pitch to hit. Someone throw you a high one. I mean, the pitcher just always duck when they threw a high one.
Again, the 3-2 from Parnell, and again a foul ball.
And he's tardy.
So after Buchholz threw 8 pitches to get through a 1-2-3 7th, Parnell has thrown 9 to Morris and still battling. And Morris retreating to the on-deck circle to try and get a better grip.
Here it is in the rule book, folks.
The upper limit is a horizontal line at the midpoint between the top of the shoulder and the top of the pants. Now, my problem with that is, how is the umpire supposed to judge
really
that
exactly
on a hitter by hitter basis exactly where that midpoint is?
And I guess not every uniform has the letters, you know.
Here's a 3-2. Lined in a right field, a base hit from Morris. On the 10th pitch of the at bat, Morris wins the battle from Parnell, and that'll get the tying run to the plate for the Nats in the 8th inning.
Watch his hands go back. He's still tarred. This ball's out over the plate. He's still late. See how far behind he hit the ball? If he got that pitch another 6 inches inside, Ronnie would have sawed him in two.
And Mercedes-Benz Ultra Mode brought to you by your Tri-State dealers on the web at searchmercedes.com. I don't know if you can search for Keith's Mercedes, but here's Wilson Ramos, who's 2 for 3, a single and a double. Tying run at the plate in a 6-4 game. And that one misses badly. A slider from Parnell, 1-0. So after Parnell got ahead quickly on Morris 0-2, it's not coming easily for him. And another slider, and it's 2-0. And that'll get Nickius out to the mound as K-Rod gets up in the bullpen, perhaps for an 8th inning appearance. He's only been used twice this year.
Well, the slider is a good pitch if you're trying to fool Ramos. But what are you trying to do in this situation? You want to get a ground ball, get a double play. He's got a good two-seamer. Go with that, keep it down, let Ramos roll it over.
Tim Burdack up with Rick Ankiel, the left-hand hitter, due up next. Behind on Ramos now 2-0. Parnell needs a strike, and he misses 3-0. That time spiking the fastball. Here's Ankiel on deck, and if Parnell doesn't get Ramos out, we'll probably see Burdack come in to face him. On 3-0, Ramos watches ball 4. And so Parnell struggling again. The first 2 are aboard for the Nationals. Tying runs on base with nobody out. Let's check in with Chris Carlin. He has a New York State Smokers Quit Line game break. Playing without Hanley Ramirez, the Marlins have put together plenty of offense tonight in Houston.
Houston tried the nightmare this year. Wow.
Oh boy.
Well, Dan Worthen out to the mound. They've got Burdack up in the bullpen, which leads to the question: if you're not going to use him here, when do you have him up?
Well, he just got up. I don't know if is he ready. Maybe that's the problem.
You got lots of left-handed bats on the bench for the Nats. Matt Stairs, Lance Nix, Alex Cora, and we don't know if Adam LaRoche is available. Probably would be, since they plan to play him tomorrow. So Burdack will stay loose for them. Meanwhile, Ankiel will bat against Parnell. You don't think about the bunt with Ankiel, and he hits it in the air deep down the right field line, hooking toward the pole. Foul ball.
Oh boy.
And that's why you don't think about the bunt with Ankiel.
Wow. We'll play for the tie at home, right, and for the win on the road. And that was a bomb. Down and in slider.
Foul, but not by that much. 0-1 to Ankiel. Checks his swing, and he certainly appeared to go around. He did. 0-2.
A little over anxious. Ball out of the strike zone.
So Parnell finds himself ahead of the count 0-2 with the switch hitting Danny Espinosa, who's already homered tonight, waiting on deck. Tying runs on base with nobody out in the 8th. And Ankiel watches wide. 1-2. 97 from Parnell.
You know, he threw that slider that Ankiel pulled foul for that home run, foul home run. He can throw that slider again, but he's got to bounce it.
And he throws it inside. 2-2. Rick Ankiel came to the Nats on a minor league deal this year. The hitting coach with Washington is Rick Eckstein. who had worked with Ankiel in the Cardinals minor league organization a few years ago. A year Ankiel hit 32 home runs. Here's the 2-2. Foul back and a good grip at a fastball.
Nope, just right down the middle and upstairs.
There's Rick Eckstein, David's brother. He's building quite a reputation as a hitting coach. 2-2.
Oh,
in there for a call, strike 3. Got him observing on the fastball. And that's a big first out of the inning for Bobby Parnell.
No, don't understand how you could be looking for a breaking ball with 2 strikes.
Let's take a look at the Delta keep climbing overhead cam.
That's just middle. That's called looking for a breaking ball.
So 1 out. And now Danny Espinosa, who slugged a long 3-run homer as a right-hand batter in the 2nd inning. Struck out twice after that against Capuano. Now bats left-handed for the first time tonight. And Parnell looking Morse back to the bat. Ramos at first. Not a lot of speed on the bases for the Nats, although we saw Ramos hustle from first to third earlier in the game. 0-1 to Espinosa. Each team has hit 2 home runs tonight. I've seen a lot of home run filled games in April here at Citi Field the first couple of years. Good stop by Nikias on the slider. 1-1. Mike Nikias, who built his reputation in the Mets organization as a tremendous defensive catcher. He has a big hit in this game tonight. There's Matt Stairs looming, the 43-year-old home run hitter. Jerry Hairston Jr. due up next, but we certainly could see Stairs in that spot. 1-1 to Espinosa. Swing and a foul tip held by Nikias. 1-2. Parnell starting to air it out. Struck out Ankiel, looking at a fastball. Now ahead on Espinosa. 1-2. After a single and a walk, put him in jeopardy here in the 8th. Just missed. Downed it up to 98. 2-2. On 2-2, Espinosa watches wide and a full count. So again, Parnell gets ahead and now runs it full.
We were talking about Capuano before. That's Parnell's problem right now. That hip and that front shoulder, he's not keeping it in. That's why that ball just running off the plate away.
25 pitches already in the inning for Parnell, and a big one to make here on 3-2 to Espinosa with the tying runs on base. Foul back. We'll have to do it again. Hard working inning for Parnell as Dan Warthen and Terry Collins look on. We got K-Rod available for a potential more than 3-out save. You also have Burdack ready in the bullpen for a left-hand batter.
Well, I saw Danny Warthen after the game last night. He thought he'd been in a 15-round prize fight. Might have the same feeling today.
It's just a helpless feeling when you're a coach. Yeah. You can't do anything.
These pitchers walked 9 yesterday. Parnell's walk was the first in today's game. Again, the 3-2. Fouled again.
The problem you have, I don't care what the gun says, 96, 97, 98. When a big league hitter sees 4, 5, 6 all in the same kind of speed, they tend to catch up. Makes it more dangerous for Bobby.
This will be the 8th pitch of the at-bat to Espinosa. He struck him out. 2 away.
Well, good spot right here. Up and in, tied him up. No chance to get the head of the bat. Espinosa on his fastball.
So now, after a single and a walk, back-to-back strikeouts, Matt Stairs has been announced as a pinch hitter. And Terry Collins is on his way out, which makes you think that he's going to bring in Burdack. Although he could go to K-Rod in this spot. See what he has in mind. David Wright came over from third base. He was not certain that Stairs had been announced into the game. But now, apparently, everybody has it on the same page. And who's coming in? K-Rod's not sure. Came out of the dugout and clearly signaled with his right hand for Francisco Rodriguez, but the Nats didn't see it that way. They thought he had called for the lefty. I'm not sure why they think that's an advantage with Stairs in the game. Or is it possible that Stairs had not been announced at that point?
That's the one thing I do not know, but Stairs, the guy, and the Mets have gone with their best relief pitcher in Rodriguez.
2 out and 2 on K-Rod, looking for a 4-out save. 6-4 New York, 8th inning. And the off-speed pitch in for a strike. 0-1.
The K-Rod in kind of a mop-up duty in his last outing, pitched a clean inning in Philadelphia with a couple of punch-outs.
His first outing in Florida was a blown save. His first Citi Field appearance of the season. Yesterday, when the teams were introduced on opening day, K-Rod was booed by a good portion of the crowd in reaction to the way his season ended last year. One and 1 to Stairs, the all-time leading pinch hit home run maker, but he bounces one right to the second baseman, and Emis throws it out to end the inning. So K-Rod comes in, gets a big out, and the Mets lead 6-4 going to the bottom of the 8th. Against the Nationals here at Citi Field. Mets Nationals coverage begins with Pepsi Max pregame live tomorrow at 12:30, only on SNY. Matt Stairs stays in the game at first base. Mike Morris moves from first base to left field. I didn't recall Stairs playing a lot of first base, but I'm looking at his numbers. 290 games in his career at first base, so he's been there before. Brian Broderick, who came on in the 6th inning, has given up 2 hits and a walk, but no runs over an inning and 2/3. And Scott Hairston will lead off for the Mets in the bottom of the 8th as they look to expand on a 2-run lead. So Broderick getting a lot of work in his 2nd big league appearance. And Hairston takes a strike. Scott is 0 for 3, fly to left and struck out twice. Ike Davis on deck, and then Brad Emis here in the bottom of the 8th.
I like this kid. I mean, you know, he's got 4 pitches, throws strikes. In the minor leagues, I know it's different, but he only averaged a walk and a half per 9 innings. He has a clue what he's doing.
And he came in the 6th in that tight jam. With the runner on 3rd, gave up 2 base hits, but has settled down since.
Inside, and Hairston is hit by the pitch.
I'll tell you, the game today, you see that more than anything. A sinker running in, and the player reacting and hitting him on the elbow, and it's probably what, 3 inches off the corner.
Ike Davis got hit on the hand earlier in the game. Now Hairston hit on the elbow. And the Mets have the leadoff man on in the 8th. Ike has the biggest hit in this game. Mets were down by a run in the 6th. And Davis drove a triple to the gap in right center to drive in the tying and go-ahead run. His 2nd career triple. And here it is.
And been only 1 game where Ike's hit has not driven in a run. And there it is. First pitch slider. A lot of hang time. I don't know where and Keel was playing, but that's a triple. Nice hustle by Ike. Big clutch hitting.
9 RBIs now for Ike in 8 games. Coming into the day, Ryan Howard led the league with 9 RBIs.
The only game he didn't drive in a run was a game he couldn't have. The Mets were shut out by Halladay in Philadelphia on getaway day.
Brad Emis, who will have his first at bat of the day, waiting on deck. Mets were up 2-0, down 3-2, down 4-3, up 6-4. That kind of day. 1-2 to Ike. Well, they've completed the suspended game in San Diego, the one that was finally suspended at 4:40 Eastern time this morning. Dodgers got 2 in the 11th. Tony Gwynn Jr., now playing for the Dodgers, had the RBI that put LA in front in the 11th. That seems strange.
Yes, it does.
He's hurt the Padres before, if you'll remember, when he was with Milwaukee. There's the 1-2. Bounced foul when Trevor Hoffman was trying to nail down the wild card, and it was Gwynn on the last day who got that triple that forced the playoff with the Rockies that the Padres lost. Still seems strange.
Heard any news on Senior? Tony Gwynn Sr.? How's he feeling? I haven't heard any news on him.
I have not. We wish Tony all the best. 1-2 to Davis. Crowds him, and it's 2-2. I'm telling you, I watched video of the grounds crew in San Diego pulling the tarp last night. Looked like they'd never done it before because, well, they probably had.
Hard to do it in flip-flops, Gary.
2-2 from Broderick. Off speed, punched foul. Well, we were in San Diego, gosh, it's got to be 10 or 12 years ago when they were playing at Jack Murphy Stadium. And we actually got rained out of a game. Mets and Padres. It was the first time they'd had a rain out in 14 years. And they waited about 2 hours with the tarp on the field and the rain falling. And what I remember about that were all the fans at Jack Murphy Stadium sitting in their seats in rapt attention watching the rain fall on the tarp because they'd never seen it before. It was exciting for them.
Baseball's so entertaining.
You never know what you're going to see when you go to the ballpark. Even in San Diego. toward the hole, and Ike's got a base hit. His second of the night. Hairston pulls in at second. So the Mets have the first two aboard in the 8th. With Brad Emus coming up.
Nice at bat again by Ike. Sinker going right with it. That's a ball he could have pulled. That's beautiful. 2 strikes. Good hitting.
Now, what do you ask Brad Emus to do? You got Nickius, a light hitter on deck, and then the pitcher spot, that would probably be Willie Harris to pinch hit. So do you ask Emus to bunt, or you have him swing away?
I'd bunt him. You want to try to push one more across. Playing for 1 run, maybe you'll get 2.
Of course, you got K-Rod behind Nickius, so that changes things because you're not going to take him out of the game, right? And so he swings and rips one foul. And that's got to be the...
You're right about that. I have to take that back. I forgot that K-Rod had to hit. No chance to pinch hit, so Emus has got to swing and Nickius.
Because if you bunt with Emus, then they probably pitch around Nickius, and that brings K-Rod up. Emus swinging for the first time tonight. Chin-Lung Hu started at second base. Good curveball by Broderick, and it's 0-2. Hu gave way to Daniel Murphy, who came in through with a pinch hit single. Terry had the option of leaving Murphy in at second base, but with the lead decided to go with Emus, a better defender than Murphy. Here's the 0-2, and the breaking ball misses. 1-2. Ramos sets up inside, and Emus is hit by the pitch. Second time in the inning, a Met batter has been struck, and now the bases are loaded with nobody out. Third Met batter has been hit tonight. And now Nickius is being called back.
When you're pitching inside and you're a right-hander, it's hard to run that ball in on the right-hander. You want that truer kind of ball that's going to stay on the inside corner that clips the jersey of Emus.
And if you're going to be hit by a pitch, that's the way you want to be hit. All fabric, no flesh. Nickius back to the dugout. Josh Tolley will bat for him and then stay in the game behind the plate. So with a chance to put the hammer down in this game with a right-hand pitcher on the mound, Terry Collins goes to his starting left-hand batting catcher.
And I got to believe they're going to make a move here. Should they got a lefty up? They're waiting for the announcement. Here comes Mr. Riggleman.
Jim Riggleman on his way out to the mound. He's got the lefty up in the bullpen. And so we'll see Doug Slayton come in here to face Tolley with the bases loaded and nobody out. Mets up 6-4 in the 8th. We'll be right back. in this series.
Well, Slayton is their left-handed specialist. Very good overhand curveball, slider, just enough fastball to keep you honest.
So the Mets with a chance to break this game open, and there's a unique sight, and I mean that quite literally. Francisco Rodriguez has not had a plate appearance in his major league career, and barring a triple play, he's going to have one in a moment. Josh Thole bats with the bases loaded and nobody out. The infield comes in. Thole hitting for Mike Nickias, who was 1 for 3. Josh hitting at .368 to begin the season. He's had 2 career at bats against Slayton, 0 for 2. And Josh, first pitch swinging, bangs one that deflects by Desmond. Into score comes Hairston. Davis trying to score.
Interference.
And now time is called. Well, let's see where they're going to place the runners.
Well, that means the ball had to hit the runner.
It hit Davis.
Okay.
So that means Davis is out.
Yes.
And the runners go back.
If it didn't hit him, then it's up to the discretion of the umpires to place the runners. And it appears they're going to allow a run to score. Now Terry Collins out to argue. Let's take a look.
Oh, he got in his way.
Got in his way.
Ike's got to run.
Yeah, he's in the way of Desmond. And, and I'll tell you what, Desmond sold that call to Larry Vanover. Desmond pointed, and it wasn't until after he did that Vanover made the call.
You know, it's interesting. That's why when the bases are loaded like that, you'll teach your runners not to take that lead deep to the shortstop. Take it on a straight line to third base.
Ike, you gotta run inside and try to avoid being tagged. You can't get in the way of the guy fielding the ball. And baseball 101.
So Davis is out. And he's talking to Reyes, saying, yeah, I gave him room, but really he didn't. So that's the first out of the inning. So Hairston will have to go back to third. Emis goes to second on the play. And Thole is on at first. And you see he tried to duck his hip.
Yep.
So what do you think?
Yep, he saw it right away. It's interference. He's got to move inside towards the home plate. He's got to clear. Well, Terry's hot. Look at Terry's hot at him. He's telling him right now.
What you do at second base is that when you take the lead, you locate the shortstop. Make sure you're not in the same line.
So now Francisco Rodriguez comes to bat with the bases loaded and 1 out. His first career plate appearance. And I'm not sure what you ask of K-Rod here. You ask him to strike out? Jim Riggleman wants to make sure the runners were placed properly, since it's Davis who was out. And then it's home plate umpire Dan Bellino explaining it to him why Emis goes to second and Thole to first.
Gary, I got a question for you.
Yes.
How did you score that? Fielder's choice, Thole? Well, how would you
I think
score that?
The putout goes to the shortstop because he was closest to the play.
And Thole gets a fielder's choice?
Yes.
Yeah.
Be a nice time to squeeze here. A lot of commotion, a lot of stuff happening. Never really do it with the bases loaded, but
Not sure that K-Rod is the perfect guy to ask to squeeze.
No, he's definitely not. But
I think you'd rather have him strike out than anything else right now.
Well, you like them base hit
rather than risk the double play.
I got you.
Oh, look at the outfielders in the air. They're really in shallow on Frankie. Wow.
It is 6 unassisted on the putout on the interference. Taking a good rip.
He's taking a good cut. It just,
well, you know he's going to be aggressive. That's his nature on the field.
Just got to square it up.
It's been a long time since the Mets hit a grand slam.
There you go.
He's not getting cheated.
He hit a foul ball. That's an event. He's not even smiling. So now Slayton trying to put him away. And K-Rod watches the breaking ball go around the plate, and it's 1-2.
Nice eye. Didn't look full at all.
Nope.
He looks like he's done this before. But he came up in 2002 in the American League, and he's never swung a bat in anger in a game. And he goes down swinging for the second out. So now they're 2 away, and it'll be left to Reyes. So Slayton has come on, got a little fortunate on the interference call against Davis for the first out. Strikes out K-Rod for the second out, and now it's left to Reyes, who's had more turns at bat with runners in scoring position than any Met this season. Looking for his first run batted in. He's gone 0 for 9 with runners in scoring position this season. Bases loaded, 2 down, and Reyes watches wide, ball 1. Reyes 1 for 3 in his career against Slayton. Pagan would be next. And Slayton behind on Reyes, 2-0. So we'll say taking a little more patient approach than he did against Clippard in a big spot last night. Now on 2-0, Reyes takes high, ball 3. So now Slayton in danger of forcing a run. That's filled the bases with a hit and 2 hit batsmen. Hairston at third, Emis at second, and Tolley at first with 2 down. 3-0 to Reyes. And he takes one, just nipped the corner, 3-1. Ready to get to hitting. 3-1 from Slayton, and he takes it down the middle, 3-2. Wow. Now the merry-go-round will be in motion. All 3 runners will be on their way with 3-2 and 2 down. Three-two to Reyes. Line drive, base hit. Hairston is in. Emis right behind him. Digging for third is Tolley. He'll stop there. Reyes into second with a 2-run double. And the Mets have an 8-4 lead. Yeah, the Mets who lacked the big hit the last couple of days have come up with a bunch tonight.
Nice fastball right there. Reyes staying level and jumping all over it. Natural right-hand hitter. What is Michael Morse doing here? Just throwing to the cutoff man, allowing Reyes to get a double. You got to be kidding me.
Third double of the year for Reyes. His first 2 runs batted in. Now the Mets have a 4-run lead as Angel Pagan steps in, and he hits one in the air to center. And Ankiel measures it to end the inning. But the Mets add 2, and now K-Rod goes out for the 9th, trying to get the final 3 outs with a 4-run Met lead. In the 8th to take charge of this game. Now K-Rod looking for the final 3 outs. The former Met Alex Cora pinch hits to lead off in the 9th and takes a strike. Cora, who was let go by the Mets midseason last year, signed on with Texas for a while. Came to camp on a minor league deal with the Nats and made the team as a backup infielder. And Rodriguez ahead of him 0-2. Look at the Mercedes-Benz Ultramo, brought to you by your Tri-State dealers on the web at searchmercedes.com.
Well, got the barrel of the bat right out there on that high fastball, belt high over the middle. Got ahead 3-0. That was the key.
K-Rod came on in the 8th with 2 aboard and got Matt Stairs to ground out. Looking for a 4-out save tonight, trying for his first save of the season. Ahead on Cora 0-2. And he bounces that pitch 1-2. Josh Tolley now behind the plate after serving as a pinch hitter and hitting a ball that resulted in an interference call.
It's hard to call, but I thought Tolley's was going to be a flat-out hit. But interference made it a moot point.
1-2. And that goes to the backstop. Ian Desmond on deck, and then Jason Worth as the Nationals try and fight back in the 9th. Final game of this series tomorrow. Chris Young goes for the Mets. Jason Marquis for the Nats. Coverage begins at 12:30 on SNY. Now the 2-2, and Cora stays alive. Alex played a lot 2 years ago for the Mets, hit .251 in over 270 at bats. Struggled last year. Remember in 09 he played with those torn ligaments in both of his thumbs for a good portion of the year. With Reyes out, he felt he had to do that. Forever endeared himself to the Mets with that and his contributions off the field. Just a great guy to have on your team because he has such a knowledge of the game. And like his brother Joey, Alex is going to be a big league manager one of these days. Joey, of course, the bench coach with Ozzie Guillen in Chicago.
Ozzie won't let him go.
Now the 3-2. And Cora works out the walk. Wow. K-Rod had him 0-2. But Cora is aboard to start the 9th. Now Ian Desmond, who homered back in the 5th inning. At the time, that gave Washington a 4-3 lead, but that's the last run they scored. Mets scored 3 in the 6th, 2 of them on an Ike Davis triple, and then 2 in the 8th on a Jose Reyes double. And now K-Rod trying to settle back in after the leadoff walk to Cora. Desmond 1 for 4 on the day, 1 for 9 in the series. Cora takes off, and the Mets will let him go. Defensive indifference. He moves to second. So that takes the double play out of order. And after looking very sharp when he came on in the 8th inning, K-Rod, perhaps after swinging the bat a few times, knocked himself out of kilter.
Got a 4-run lead. Throw it down the middle.
Put him and give a sign.
There we go.
Here's a strike. Rodriguez trying to protect it for Chris Capuano, who went 6 innings in his first Mets start, allowed 4 runs, 7 hits. Most importantly, didn't walk anybody. Struck out 8. Taylor Buchholz, a very impressive 7th. Bobby Parnell, an up and down 8th. And that's below the knees, and it's 3-1 to Desmond. So it's not coming easily for K-Rod here in the 9th. I think I said no walks for Capuano. He walked 1. And ball 4. So K-Rod, doing his best to invite the Nationals back into this game, has walked a pair. So now the Nats need just one more base runner to get the tying run to the plate. They've got Jason Worth coming up and Ryan Zimmerman behind him. Well, in his first save opportunity of the season, K-Rod got within 1 out and then gave up a game-tying hit, a game the Mets wound up winning in Florida. Worth is 0 for 3 in a walk. He struck out twice tonight. And the Nats hitters going up there being patient against K-Rod. 1-0.
And you can't blame the umpire. Those balls are down.
Well, Zimmerman waiting on deck. If Worth gets on, Zimmerman would be the tying run. Here's the 1-0 to Worth. That's a strike at the knees. 1-1. Last year, Frankie walked 21 batters in 57 innings.
Oh, gosh.
Making his manager squirm.
Doing a good job on me, too.
2-1 to Worth. It foul off the right side. That'll make it into the seats. And it's 2-2. Cora is at second. Desmond at first with nobody out. 8-4 New York, 9th inning. Worth just 1 for 8 in this series. Two. That misses. Ball 3. Well, if you're K-Rod, you can't walk him. You just can't. You'd rather throw it down the middle and give up a 3-run homer, I think, at this point.
You have to throw a strike here.
3-2 to Jason Worth. And it's hit sharply to short. Should be 2. Emis with the turn. 2 men down. Throw a strike and something good might happen. 6-4-3 double play, and the Nats are down to their final out of the night.
Highly recommended, Gare. Tailor-made. Easy turn.
That might be the pitcher's best friend of all time right there.
BFF.
There you go.
So now Frankie 1 out away from his first save of the season. Ryan Zimmerman steps in. Zimmerman 2 for 4 on the night, a pair of singles. Ball 1 to Zimmerman. Don't forget, coming up right after we're done here, it's Lincoln postgame live. Chris Carlin and Bobby Ojeda will have all the highlights, the interviews, Terry Collins postgame press conference.
Tell you what, that postgame live should have been on a half hour ago.
And it's not going to be tape delayed, folks. That's in at the knees for a strike. 1-1 to Zimmerman. Zimmerman 0 for 3 in his career against K-Rod. Now Frankie with a 1-1. And Zimmerman strokes one down the right field line, foul. And now the Nats are down to their final strike. And the ski-hatted crowd rises. 31,676 paid tonight.
1-2 to Zimmerman. He struck him out, and the ball game is over. Frankie Rodriguez seals it after a couple of walks in the ninth. The Mets come from behind with big hits by Davis and Reyes, and they even up the series with the Nats with an 8-4 win.
Well, a sloppy game for Terry Collins' crew, but a game they needed. And Chris Capuano was outstanding. Getting to the 6th inning, he made a couple of mistakes, giving up a big 3-run home run and another home run. But other than that, very strong outing with his 8 punch-outs. And Taylor Buchholz probably pitched the best out of the pen tonight.
And Carlos Beltran, 2 home runs from the right side of the plate, 3 RBI, had a big day at the plate. Jose Reyes, of course, with a big double, his first 2 RBIs of the season. That was in the 8th inning. So the Mets even the series. Tomorrow's the big rubber match.
Terry Collins was waiting the last couple of days for the big hit. He got one tonight from Ike Davis and another from Jose Reyes to clinch it. Mets win 8-4. Back to Citi Field in a moment.